Chapter 513. Your moralities. For example, Chinese cabbage with mushrooms and bamboo shoots were called double winter and white snow. Tofu soup was called cloud and wall. Vegetables, winter bamboo shoots, mushrooms, tofu and gluten were carefully cooked together, and the taste was as delicious as that of meat dishes. Later, Qiuyue learned that the vegetarian banquet cost 100 liang for one table, since they were such precious dishes. In the afternoon, First Madam kept Qiuyue company to pay a visit to the plum forest in the back mountains, where the flowers were growing freely. There were many visitors there and they were all chatting, which was a starkly different scene compared to that from the quiet, small plum garden. The two of them had a good time and were very happy when they went home. First Madam smiled. Let's go shopping tomorrow. It is getting very warm and there are many new garments and ornaments as well as cosmetics in the market these days. You are young and you should dress up well. I am sure that we will get some suitable ones for you to wear even at home. Every woman loved to go shopping. Also, it was much more convenient to have someone like First Madam with her. Qiuyue smiled brightly. Satisfied, First Madam smiled again. Just tell me whenever you spot something great. I am willing to buy everything for you. Qiuyue smiled. I will definitely tell you. First Madam laughed. Great. The two of them returned to the mansion and heard the message from Yuezheng that they were not coming back for dinner. First Madam did not care. She asked the kitchen to get some small dishes prepared since only she and Qiuyue would be there for dinner. But before dinner, Ms.Me Jr. and Yuezheng Ting showed up. Elder sister-in-law. Hey, elder aunt. Both of them greeted First Madam but ignored Qiuyue, who was sitting next to her. They did not even want to have a look at her. Ms.Me Jr. passed an invitation to the First Madam. This is Madame Jia's invitation, asking us to attend a flower feast in a couple of days. Madame Jia and we are in a good relationship. I am sure that you won't turn her down for no reason, right? Elder sister-in-law? She finally glanced at Qiuyue and smiled. Mrs. Zhao, you are in a good relationship with the elder sister-in-law, and I mentioned that to Madame Jia, who said that Mrs. Zhao could tag along too, so everyone could see what kind of excellent woman has befriended the elder sister-in-law. Also, Mrs. Zhao, you can meet some noble ladies from the province so you can build some more contacts, since you are a businesswoman, right? First Madam did not like what Ms.Me Jr. said. She was looking down at Qiuyue blatantly. She was about to say something when Yuezheng Ting blinked and smiled as if she were totally innocent. Yeah, Mrs. Zhao, come and join us. Aunt Jia's invitation to you is nothing less than an honor, and you can go and open your horizons a little, right? Or are you afraid of going there? Ting? First Madam snapped at her. Do you have any moralities? Yuezheng Ting flushed. Elder aunt, we are all a family and I am just being honest, saying things straightforwardly. Ms.Me Jr. sneered too. Elder sister-in-law, why are you scolding Ting? Why is she wrong? Chapter 514. Ms.Me Jr.'s anger. Ting has grown up next to Madame Yuezheng. If you doubt her morality, you are suspecting Madame Yuezheng instead. First Madam sneered. Stop using Madame Yuezheng's name in front of me. You don't need to care how I treat my guests. Just leave. Before Ms.Me Jr. could say anything, Auntie Hua walked up with a false smile and dragged away Ms.Me Jr. fiercely. When Ms.Me Jr. was gone, Yuezheng Ting left as well. Outside the yard, Ms.Me Jr. got so angry that she almost collapsed. How dare this countryside bitch get me humiliated like this? Yuezheng Ting was displeased as well. Mom, I really don't like that woman. Her third brother would rather introduce young Master Xie to the lowly couple than to her. That was why Yuezheng Ting never liked Qiuyue and Xiaoyunduan. Also, Qiuyue once turned her down and humiliated her in front of the two sisters of the Xie family. Ms.Me Jr. sneered. What is elder aunt doing with them? How can their family actually befriend such a couple? Wait. Ms.Me Jr. raised her eyebrows. Your elder aunt has a high taste. No ordinary people would be treated so well by her. Could there be anything special about the couple? Yuezheng Ting sneered. Special about the couple? I don't think so. You don't know your elder aunt well. Ms.Me Jr. said, she and third brother as well as the whole first section of the family treats them so specially. There has to be a reason for that. Where on earth are they from? I don't think I would not be able to find out their details. Ms.Me Jr. had looked into Qiuyue and Xiaoyunduan's backgrounds, but she gained nothing after looking through the villages in the neighborhood. Now she suddenly realized that maybe they had lied about where they were actually from. But where were they from anyway? The more Ms.Me Jr. thought about this, the more she believed that there was a secret behind this whole thing. Xian, don't take what they say in heart. They are not picking on you. They are picking on me. Ignore them. First Madam apologized to Qiao Xian in the room. Qiao Xian nodded and smiled reassuringly. I know that, Aunt. Ms. Mi Jr. had been sure that First Madam and her husband would not be back to the mansion, and that Old Master would probably die soon. But unexpectedly, Old Master recovered completely, and the couple went back to the mansion. Ms. Mi Jr. could not stand that anymore. She had started to think that she was already in charge of the mansion. She caused enough trouble when she believed that there were people backing her up. After all, she was very good at causing trouble. First Madam looked relieved. That is good. I knew that you are an understanding person. She lowered her head and asked, will you come with me to the Zhao family's banquet in a couple of days? Oh well, don't worry. First Madam laughed. No one will look down at you. You will be with me. And she will be keeping you company as well. She teased. When Yuezheng becomes the recommended man or reaches even further, you will need to be able to handle such situations. Qiao Xian was not afraid. She was just not very interested. Hearing that, she did not turn down First Madam. She understood that the older woman was being kind to her. Okay. I will join you. Please be sure to teach me whatever I don't know, Aunt. Chapter 515, Unfriendly Guest, that is no problem. First Madam smiled brightly. Xian, you are smart. You will understand everything once I tell you. Soon it was time for dinner, and First Madam asked Qiao Xian to join her for the meal. Ms.Yan asked her servant to prepare 2 dishes for them, which made First Madam feel quite satisfied. Her daughter-in-law was very understanding. As long as the first section of the family was doing well, she did not care about how the second section of the family behaved. All Ms. Mi Jr. could do was try to disgust her. But she was not foolish, and that made Ms. Mi feel frustrated. The 3 sons of the second section of the family were in a good relationship and they respected her as elder aunt. That made Ms. Mi Jr. very uncomfortable. First Madam was in a good mood. She invited Qiao Xian to join her for food in a very friendly tone. After they finished dinner, they talked about going shopping the next day. First Madam planned to pick 2 outstanding dresses and some ornaments for Qiao Xian for the visit at Madame Jia's home, so that no one would dare look down at her. By the time they were almost done chatting, Yuezheng Xiao and Xiao Yuezheng came over. Xiao Yuezheng was here to pick up Qiao Xian and go back to their guest house. First Madam smiled brightly and asked Qiao Xian to join her for breakfast before going out together the next morning. Then she let her go with Xiao Yuezheng. The couple was in a good relationship. First Madam smiled and said that if she had a daughter, she would like to marry her to someone like Xiao Yuezheng. He was devoted, low-profiled and moral without showing any arrogance. Moreover, he cared about his wife too. It was still not very dark, and the afterglow was shining bright in the west. The couple chatted and walked towards the guest house. Qiao Xian told Xiao Yuezheng about what they had seen at Fuyu Temple during the day. Xiao Yuezheng listened to her carefully, responding to her every now and then with gentleness. He was glad as long as she was happy. Suddenly they saw Yuezheng Ting waving at them not very far away. Hello, Mrs. Xiao. Qiao Xian's face stiffened. Xiao Yuezheng frowned slightly. The second miss of the Yuezheng family doesn't seem to be here without purpose. Qiao Xian chuckled. There is always someone in the family who is troublesome. I am quite curious about what she wants from me. Soon Yuezheng Ting and Jianghu came to them. Greetings, what a coincidence. Qiao Xian said calmly, we are heading back to the guest house. What can I do for you, second miss? No, it is just that I would like to have a small chat with you. Yuezheng Ting smiled. I'm not picking on you. I'm just a straightforward person. Don't be mad at me. Xiao Yuezheng's eyes sank. He knew that she was up to no good. He wondered what she wanted to do to his wife. Xiao Yuezheng again told himself that he was going to become successful in his career so that no one would dare look down on his wife. Qiao Xian smiled. It is fine, second Mississippi. I don't mind. I knew you were generous. Yuezheng Ting smiled happily. That's why I would like to be your friend. Where is your home? I will come and visit you someday. Both Qiao Xian and Xiao Yuezheng were taken aback. Why was the second miss of the Yuezheng family suddenly curious about where they were from? They were not going to reveal the truth. They did not intend to lead the enemy home. Now they were sure that this second miss was going to bring trouble to them. Chapter 516. Maybe they did not want any trouble for themselves. Just a place in the outskirts area, it's the countryside, not good enough for you to visit, second Mississippi. You shouldn't bother to visit the place. The more Qiao Xian tried to turn her down, the more excited Yuezheng Ting became. She smiled. It is okay. My third brother visits the place often, right? I won't find it too bad either. Mrs. Xiao, just tell me where it is. It is not a secret, is it? Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. This blunt girl just did not know how to talk. Seeing that she could not dodge the question, Qiao Xian said with a forced voice, My home is in Shihe town of Li County. Yuezheng Ting bore that in mind but did not seem very happy. Shihe town of Li County? But I don't think that was what you told me last time. Qiao Xian blinked her eyes and showed an embarrassed smile. Li County is located in the outskirts of the province. Sorry for not making it clear. It is not a big deal though, is it? Yuezheng Ting had no way to counter her. That seemed to make sense. Anyway, I got it now. I will come and visit you with my mom now. Why? Yuezheng Ting left with Jiang quickly. Xiao Yunduan asked her. So, she is here to ask us this? What? Qiao Xian chuckled. Not sure. She can find her answer in Li County. The couple exchanged a look and laughed. Xiao Yunduan did not think there was anything wrong with Qiao Xian misleading the girl. He said, I don't think that Miss Yuezheng is a good-tempered person. She may come and pester us next time if she fails to find us. What about buying a small courtyard in the province next time we are here? They could just live in the courtyard rather than at the mansion, where they might keep running into Yuezheng Ting. Qiao Xian's eyes sparkled. That is a good idea. If we have the courtyard, you can come and wait for the autumn examination ahead of time. We will have more freedom if we have a place of our own. After a few moments, she suggested. What about buying a bigger one so that our mom and the others could come and live with us too? They can also see how busy the province is. Also, third brother and third sister-in-law are looking forward to coming here as well. Speaking of the funny Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni, Xiao Yunduan smiled. Their mood was lifted up. Okay, it's a deal. On the other hand, Yuezheng Ting was showing off how she got to know Qiao Xian's address. That should be the correct address. I don't think she will dare to lie to me. It's my fault that I did not pry deeper last time. Ms. Mi Jr. believed her. They would not dare lie to her daughter, would they? Anyways, it was just their home address, not something secretive. She was going to dig deep into this family to see what on earth was so special about them that was worth the attention of the first section of the family. Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian took a walk and went back to the guest house. They washed themselves up and slept soon. Early next morning, Qiao Xian and the First Madam went shopping after breakfast. First Madam wanted Qiao Xian to look pretty at Madame Jia's banquet, thus she took her to high-end garment stores, latest jewelry pavilions and best cosmetic stores for shopping. Qiao Xian could see how expensive those places were the moment she looked up. She wasn't so sure about entering those places. It is fine. Go in, please. First Madam smiled. You are a nobly born lady and you are sure to have more happiness to come to you in the future. You should be dressed accordingly. Chapter 517. Foreplanting. Qiao Xian smiled. Aunt, everyone knows that I am a businesswoman from the countryside. These kinds of clothes don't fit my identity. As for prosperity and happiness, I don't need to be impatient. There will always be a chance in the future. First Madam stiffened. Qiao Xian smiled. Aunt, I am not in a hurry. There will be one day when I have glory. First Madam soon understood her meaning. Ms. Mi Jr. was surely going to disclose Qiao Xian's identity and add fuel to the fire. So, if Qiao Xian was too well dressed, the outsiders would definitely know that it was the First Madam who made the preparations for her, which might cause her far more belittling looks as well as jealousy. They would be envious of her for having managed to suck up to the First Madam. Moreover, they would look down at her behavior and think of her as greedy and opportunist. No one would believe that Qiao Xian was able to afford any of these by herself. It was my lack of consideration. First Madam smiled. Okay, let's change to another place. But we can surely buy some ornaments. They are never out of fashion. Qiao Xian nodded. They went shopping for half a day and First Madam took her to a high-end restaurant for lunch. There was steamed pork ribs with betel nut taro and a shredded radish cold dish that made Qiao Xian's eyes shine. She asked the manager if she could give her some betel nut taro and spring watermelon. She was going to take them home for planting. The taros planted at home were small, soft and tasty, but they had a different taste compared to that of betel nut taro. There were many dishes that could be made with betel nut taros. In addition to steaming pork ribs, they could also steam braised meat, roast meat after oiling, steam mashed taro, cut them into strips and fry, cook porridge with them and make pancakes. They were going to taste great. Spring watermelons were very good for cold dishes, fresh, sweet and crispy. With First Madam present there, the manager agreed. He asked his page boys to bring large betel nut taros and good-shaped spring watermelons for her to take home, without charging any teas. He even said happily, Mrs. Xiao, you have sharp eyes. These have been transported from outside the province, they are not from here. Qiuyue smiled and thought to herself that she was going to make them grow here. On the wagon, First Madam smiled seeing her cherishing these two plants. If you like them, next time I will ask my elder son to fetch some more from outside and have them delivered to you. Thanks, elder aunt, but these are enough. Qiuyue did not want to conceal it from the First Madam. She answered happily. Actually, I want them to plant at home and in a couple of months they will grow nicely. I can send a few for you to eat. First Madam was startled and answered. You know less than I do. Didn't you hear what the manager said? These are not from here. Our soil might not be good enough for them. Don't be disappointed later. Qiuyue was confident. She curved her lips and smiled. I may be able to plant and grow things that others can't. First Madam. She suddenly thought of what her younger son had said. Chapter 5:18. Accompaniment. Her younger son told her once that Xiaoyunduan and Qiuyue had planted many things at their home. She suddenly remembered different things including bergamots, shiitake mushrooms, tremella, watermelon, gastrodia alata, jellies, tomatoes and various fruits. Qiuyue didn't seem to have lied to them. Okay. Then I will be waiting for your fruits. Do remember to give me some. First Madam smiled. Qiuyue chuckled and nodded. Of course. In the afternoon, Qiuyue asked First Madam to take her for a visit to the farming market, where she bought quite a lot of things. She picked up several different kinds of green vegetables and cabbage seeds. There was also a variety of long beans with white skin and black beans inside, and a kind of beans that only had beans in the pods to eat. These beans had purple flower spots and tasted glutinous. Her purchase list also included lotus beans as well as chayote, gourd melon, a light yellow pepper shaped like a lantern called habanero-type pepper, and many more. There was a lot to harvest and Qiuyue was really happy about it. First Madam asked her with interest. If you are so good at planting things, your brother Hong knows a lot of people across the country so he can gather seeds for you periodically. If you can make these plants grow successfully, I will be able to taste different things too. Qiuyue smiled. Honestly, Aunt, that is exactly what I have been thinking. I have asked my third brother to look for them for me. First Madam laughed. That is fantastic. The two of them looked at each other in a good mood. The following day they were supposed to buy the laborers. Xiaoyunduan and Yuezheng came along for this errand. First Madam was one of the most promising leading madams in the province, and was well respected. But she had been almost forgotten after she withdrew from the society to take care of the old master. Now that she was back, the moment she returned to the mansion she was able to take control of the whole mansion. Only a few days had passed, and everyone in the upper class of the society knew about this development instantly. Agencies were engaged in dealing with noble ladies so they got the news very fast. No one would dare to play any tricks if someone went to buy the laborers with First Madam. They did not try to lie to Qiuyue and Xiaoyunduan, and introduced the most suitable ones to them. Otherwise, people who just gained some wealth but had no idea about the market like Qiuyue and Xiaoyunduan, the agents would definitely try to fool them. They would quote high prices and sell them terrible laborers. Even if Xiaoyunduan and Qiuyue were clever, they could be tricked in this aspect since it was new to them. But now that would not happen. Qiuyue planned to buy a few dozen people to reside at the Zhang village to sort out the tea in the garden of the creeping figs. The agent happened to have 3 families of farmers who had arrived from another town. She introduced them to Qiuyue passionately. They are down-to-earth people who are good at farming and diligent too. They are from 3 different places and can be supervised easily. Qiuyue believed that with First Madam around, the agent would not play tricks on them. Since the agent said so, she decided to inquire more about them. She smiled. Why so? The agent laughed and started to explain to Qiuyue. Chapter 5:19. Rare, Mrs. Xiao, you are new to this. If 2 families are acquaintances and move to a new place, they would stick together and isolate the third. If 3 families are acquaintances, the 3 families would become one and isolate the manager. So, the best solution is that they shouldn't know each other. I am just saying that out of precaution. It doesn't necessarily have to be like this. What we need to do is to be careful. That made Qiuyue and Xiaoyunduan less confused. That is a valid point. Qiuyue smiled. You are right. We better be careful. But for what you said, we would not have thought about this before. Qiuyue thanked her constantly. You are welcome, Mrs. Xiao. The agent cheered inwardly. She could not help but develop a good feeling towards the couple. She had been in this business for more than 30 years, she was very experienced and could see through the world easily. Generally speaking, people who became rich from ordinary or poor families had the biggest self-esteem and inferiority complex. They just did not listen to other people's suggestions, and always felt that others were laughing at them in their hearts. They would not ask for suggestions or be grateful like the woman in front of her. But Qiuyue was frank and natural, which was a rare thing. She was confident and seemed to have a lot of abilities that would definitely take them ahead in life. So, the agent definitely wanted to befriend her. Finally, they bought 18 laborers as well as 6 maids. First, Madame offered a temporary place for these people at the private mansion. Qiuyue and Xiao Yunduan thanked her for the generosity. The 3 households were called Lin Jin, Qiao Shisan and Dongda, whilst the 6 maids were called Chunyu, Chuanfin, Damon, Xiaoman, Lixia and Liqiu. All of those were solar terms for easy remembrance. First, Madame laughed at the logic behind the naming process. When the laborers were bought, Qiuyue and Xiao Yunduan's mission was completed. After Madame Jia's banquet the next day, they would head home. It was a busy season for the farmer's family and they had no time to waste. They had money so they could hire laborers for help, thus not being in such a hurry as the others and choosing to stay at home. Xiao Yunduan kept Qiuyue company for shopping this afternoon. First, Madame was very understanding. She could not keep her to her side all the time, especially when she had not spent some quality time with her own husband. The following day, Ms.Mi Jr. hurriedly ate breakfast and came to the First Madame's residence with Yuezheng Ting, fearing that Qiuyue would not show up for the banquet. The daughter and the girl were very well dressed in brocade garments and wearing a lot of shining jewelry. We will keep each other company, so I have brought Ting along to accompany Mrs. Xiao. Oh, Mrs. Xiao is ready as well? Ms.Mi Jr. sounded very relaxed. She was looking forward to seeing the show. She smiled even deeper when she saw Qiuyue. First, Madame smiled briefly. Xian is ready, thanks for your concern. Ms.Mi Jr. chuckled. Elder sister-in-law, your guest is mine as well. Yuezheng Ting threw a glance at Qiuyue. She was dressed in a pale lotus-colored satin-faced placket, ivory white stand-up collar jacket, and a beige bamboo leaf patterned silk-faced pleated skirt. Chapter 520. Sidekick. Apart from a crystal-clear jasper hairpin studded with pearls the size of a finger, there were a few silver hairpins and silk flowers on the bun, completely different from how Yuezheng Ting and her mother were dressed. Elder aunt, why didn't you buy some new dresses for Mrs. Xiao? She looks so shabby. Ms.Mi Jr. chuckled and added. Yeah, elder sister-in-law, if you didn't have time to arrange this small thing, you could have left it to me. I have many new clothes that aren't worn yet, which are still better than what she is wearing now. I can get someone to fetch them for Mrs. Xiao. This outfit on her looks very improper. People might think that you are looking down at your guest. Qiuyue threw a strange look at Ms.Mi Jr. but said with a smile, Second, Madame Yuezheng, I don't really get it. I am here as a guest and I am wearing my own dress. Why is it related to aunt? I am not part of the Yuezheng family. Was she trying to make her into a laughingstock? Sorry, that would not work. We are from the countryside and this is how we are dressed. Aunt gave a jade hairpin to me but I still think it is too much. I am sure that Madame Jia knows where I am from and if she looks down at me, she should not have sent me the invitation. Isn't that right? Qiuyue heard from the first Madame that Madame Jia was Ms.Mi Jr.'s good friend. So, Ms.Mi Jr. should have said a lot of things to Madame Jia who would help Ms.Mi Jr. in every aspect. Therefore, Ms.Mi Jr. must have told Madame Jia everything about her. If Qiuyue was dressed fitting her status, then she could counter anyone who laughed at her, and First Madame would help her as well. But if she was dressed above her status, she might become a laughing stock. Ms.Mi Jr. felt somehow uncomfortable, as if her secret had been seen through, so she felt annoyed due to shame. Madame Jia doesn't look down at you. But you are the guest I bring to the banquet, so you can always be dressed beautifully. Yuezheng Ting said straightforwardly, Mrs. Xiao, my mom is being kind-hearted. After all, you barely will get a chance to attend any banquet in the future, so you should cherish this occasion. First Madame frowned and threw Yuezheng Ting a displeased look. It seemed that this niece of hers had been completely ruined by her mother. This sister-in-law had ruined 2 of her daughters. How excellent she had been at raising a child. No need. Qiuyue ignored her provocation and showed a brief smile. I am fine like this. Just save your breath. First Madame said coldly, Xian is the guest and she should have the final say. I like how she is dressed. Very proper. Ms.Mi Jr. sneered. Okay then, you have the say, elder sister-in-law. She sized up Qiuyue secretly, thinking that Qiuyue must be feeling unconvinced. She was a countryside person and she never had the qualification to attend any noble banquets in the province. It was such a rare opportunity. She would definitely have liked to dress up well and show up in glory. Every woman loved beautiful clothes and jewelry. Anyway, Ms. Mi Jr. snorted coldly. She believed that Xianxia would hate the elder sister-in-law for what she got now. It was a fun thing to watch. Chapter 521. Lipsticks. The four of them walked out together, accompanied by young and old maids, filling up 2 wagons. Many guests had already arrived by the time they reached the Jia family. First Madame had been to many banquets and feasts since she returned to the mansion during the new year, but she had not visited this place. It was also her first since her return. Madame Jia paid a great deal of attention to her arrival, especially coming to the door to greet them. They were all in a happy mood. First Madame introduced Xianxia formally to Madame Jia and the others. Xian and I hit it off instantly and we have become good friends. I invited her to my mansion as a guest. Since you sent the invitation to me, I brought her along with me. She doesn't know much about the rules in the families in the province, so you should not laugh at her. Everyone smiled and said that they would not. Soon the guests settled down and it was very lively in the hall. Young ladies and madams were gathered together and taking a walk in the garden. The ladies from the Zhao family interacted with Qiuyue with a smile, for the sake of First Madame. First Madame asked she to take good care of Qiuyue, but threw her a worried look. In return, Qiuyue smiled and nodded, indicating to her to remain assured. She was not being polite. She really did not need any help. She could see through every corner of the whole mansion by just touching one leaf. Her scope of sight was far beyond the mansion too. Nothing could escape her observation. If she were still set up after this, then she would just call herself unlucky. Those ladies and madams were all friends or acquaintances, or had at least heard about each other. They accidentally or intentionally ignored Qiuyue. Qiuyue never had the intention to make herself a part of their lives. She did not care. She just went for a stroll among those people who were strangers. As she was about to take a seat in the pavilion, Qiuyue heard them talking about lipsticks, which drew her attention. Yuezheng Ting became the center of attention of all the ladies and madams. Everyone seemed very earnest. Ting, the lipsticks are part of your family stores, and you are always the first one to get the newest product. My nanny can't even manage to get one until a few days later, and has only managed to buy only 2 of them till now. Yeah, it is so difficult to buy. I heard that there will be some new colors like peach and apricot. Is that true? Can you reserve 2 for me in each color? I want 2 as well, or even 1 is enough. Me too. My cousins in Jianghu love them and they keep asking me to buy some. Ting, why not tell third brother that he can just sell the products to us, not to others? We can pay the same as others will. In fact, I can buy everything from his store. That is a wonderful idea. Me too. Me too. Qiuyue was dumbfounded and she could not help but smile. She felt very proud. Lipsticks were definitely a profitable venture. When she had enough labor and beeswax, she would make some more. She would also produce more colors to meet the market's demand. Chapter 522. Limited version. Yuezheng Ting felt both furious and proud, seeing the jealous eyes. The outsiders might think that her third brother's business was equivalent to hers and that she could make these decisions, but the truth was not like that at all. Her third brother did not want to give many to her, though the products cost so little. He did not share any extra ones ever. She and her mother just could not find out where he got the products from. She enjoyed being asked for a favor, but she could not do anything about the requests. Yuezheng Ting forced a smile. That is my third brother's business. He is very conservative and only sells them at the store, not in private. Lipsticks are rare and the amount is limited, and he needs the lipsticks to bring in more business for his store's other products. I can't persuade him when it comes to business. They all sighed and got very disappointed. It was not the first time for them to entrust Yuezheng Ting to do this, so they weren't too surprised or disappointed. They just spoke of it when the topic was mentioned again. What if it was possible this time? Yuezheng Ting saw Qiuyue, who was leaning against the banister, and felt a bit annoyed, as if she had been humiliated in front of Qiuyue, who may be laughing in her heart at this moment. She grabbed Qiuyue and smiled at them. You may not know this, but Mrs. Xiao's husband and my third brother are in a good relationship. My third brother even has received them home as guests. Uncle and aunt treat them so well. Maybe you can beg Mrs. Xiao to talk with my third brother about this. Qiuyue, she felt that this lady had hit the target unintentionally. If she told him about it, he would definitely agree. The lady seemed to have heard a huge joke. I am sure she doesn't even know what lipsticks are. Yeah, she definitely can't afford them. Ting, you are so funny. I think Ting might have her reason to say so. Maybe it is possible. What about having a try? I think so too. I really want new lipsticks. Me too. They all turned to Xiaoxian with a teasing smile. Well, Mrs. Xiao, can you speak with young Master Yuezheng about selling some lipsticks to us? We will pay according to the market price. We can share some commission fees with you for it. What about helping us? They all looked at Xiaoxian. Xiaoxian smiled. That won't work. Young Master Yuezheng has his own rules in business. If he breaks the rules, his reputation would be ruined. You can hire people to stand in the queue and you can buy them. But I do have a piece of news that I can reveal to you. I heard that young Master Yuezheng is going to present a limited version of lipsticks, which is a rare thing. 10 sets at most. If you need them to appear again, you may have to wait for a decade. They were all startled. Limited version? What is a limited version? It is very rare. That is great. I definitely want one. Chapter 523, Desire, Me Too. So only 10 sets of the limited version? That is so less. Yeah, it must be so difficult to buy one set. But why limited? Mrs. Xiao, can you tell us more? Yuezheng Ting's face changed. She intended to bring Xiaoxian out to draw others' attention so they could ignore her and sneer at Xiaoxian instead, rather than let her be in the spotlight. But she attracted everyone's attention for real. That was not the plan. Also, Yuezheng Ting did not believe what Xiaoxian said. What limited version? Why only 10 sets? She was an outsider, how could she know so much? Mrs. Xiao is joking with us. Yuezheng Ting glanced at Xiaoxian and smiled. Stop it, Mrs. Xiao, you can't joke about business. Xiaoxian was not going to follow Yuezheng Ting's plan. She needed to promote the limited version. The more she promoted it, the more it would be discussed, and there would be more people who would want to buy it. The price would be raised and the quality would look good as well. I'm not joking. Xiaoxian pretended to be confused, chuckling. Second miss, that is what young Master Yuezheng said to me. This is not a joke. Yuezheng Ting was annoyed. Even if it is real, you can't spread the secret without third brother's permission. That is business, it can be either big or small, you can't just spread rumors. The girls were all startled, without any idea what to say. They glanced at Yuezheng Ting indifferently. Her reaction was way over the top. Who did she think they were that they needed to be guarded against? Xiaoxian blinked and showed a look of innocence. Second miss, you don't understand. Products should be promoted, that's how they sell well. I can promise that young Master Yuezheng did not ask me to keep it a secret. Yuezheng Ting sneered furiously. I don't even know about this, but you do? What can you promise yourself with? If you don't believe me, you can ask young Master Yuezheng about this. He said that not everyone will be able to afford the limited version. It is high-end, first class and has only 10 sets, very special and rare. He is going to promote it so everyone will know about it. Those who can't afford it would be jealous of those who can afford that. Why would he want to keep it a secret? Also, who does he think that he will sell the limited version to, if he keeps it as a secret? It would cost 3,000 or 4,000 liang for one limited version of lipsticks, as I heard. She had made the price higher so that when people learned the real price, they would find it much easier to accept it and even feel that they had taken some advantage of it. What? 3,000 to 4,000 liang? Oh my, did I hear it wrong? Mrs. Xiao, you must have heard it wrong. Seeing Yuezheng Ting obviously looking displeased, they did not dare to ask anything more, especially since Yuezheng Ting kept stopping Xiaoxian from sharing more details. But now everyone was very curious about the price. They needed to know it clearly so that they could satisfy their need to know. Yuezheng Ting herself was surprised as well. She was about to deny it when she realized that Xiaoxian would not be stupid enough to make such an exaggerated joke, thus stopping herself. Chapter 524. Yuezheng Ting's anger. Xiaoxian explained with a smile. I am not mistaken. Please listen to my explanation. She then told everyone about how the limited version worked. Everyone heard that the raw materials of this limited edition lipstick were carefully selected, and the essential oils extracted from flowers would also be added, and the production process was far more refined. Also, the lipstick tube was not only exquisite in materials, but also was inlaid with gold. Moreover, it was designed by a famous artist, all of which made their eyes brighten. No wonder it is so expensive. Yeah, the tube is costly too. There are essential oils in it. That is very rare too. 12 beauty series. I really want a set so much. Me too. But I can't afford it. My mom won't buy one for me. I would like to have one for my dowry. I wonder if my parents would allow. Oh, but when will it be launched in the market? I can at least take a look at it. Yes, me too. Everyone started to talk about it and expectantly turned to Xianxia. Yuezheng Ting clenched her teeth and was furious inside her heart. Miss Qiuyue would not know everything, right? But Xianxia did know because Yuezheng was going to give her the first batch of tubes next month for this limited version. So, a month after that she would be able to finish making them. 10 sets in total, with 5 sold separately, and the other 5 sets sold with 3 at one stage. Those who were willing to buy the new set next season could make reservations. So she smiled and answered. In a couple of months, rather within 2 months, it should be in the market. Then you can all go and have a look at it. That's great. We will definitely be there and we are going to buy 2 ordinary ones too. Me too. Those are wonderful things for me to take a look at. We may not be able to see them next time. Yeah. The group was chit-chatting and people could not help but ask Xianxia if she could tell young Master Yuezheng to make some lipsticks that were not so expensive, but the quantity was limited. It didn't matter if the price was higher than the normal, but the workmanship should also be exquisite, and it was best to add some essential oils as well. Xianxia low-class limited version? That could work but not right now. They needed to first sell the limited version of high quality and maybe then they could make something else. The luxurious version had not been launched in the market, and hence the low-class limited version should not appear so soon. Well, young Master Yuezheng is in this business. You can all send your suggestions to the manager and the sales boys at the store. They would surely pass them on to young Master Yuezheng. They all laughed. Okay, that sounds right. I will do that. I want a limited version as well, but not something that costs me 3,000 or 4,000 liang, a few hundred will do. They all nodded in agreement. Xianxia smiled and looked earnestly at them. They were all money to her. Seeing Xianxia getting so popular, Yuezheng Ting got so angry that she almost broke her teeth. Miss Qiuyue was behaving way over the top. She was just a countryside woman who should know nothing. But she kept promoting her third brother. She was going to tell the third brother about this so that he could reprimand her. Yuezheng Ting felt so annoyed and then whispered an idea into Jiang's ears. Chapter 525. Bad intention. Jiang nodded and left in a hurry. Soon a maid came to serve Xianxia the tea and before she was able to pass it on, she went to accept the tray with a smile and said, "Thanks for bringing it to me, one will take it over from here." The maid was startled and the tray was in Zai's hands smoothly. She threw a subconscious look at Yuezheng Ting, forced a smile and left it. That made Yuezheng Ting feel even more annoyed. It was still a bit cold at this time of the year, and they had been out for a long while. Soon it was time for lunch and the 2 ladies of the Zhao family made an announcement. Everyone got up and went back to the hall. After lunch they watched the play and they would be going home after that. Seeing Xianxia coming back safe and sound, First Madam let out a sigh of relief, whispering to Xianxia holding her hands. "Everything all right?" Xianxia smiled and said, "Don't worry, everything is fine. If something happens do tell me about it. Don't put yourself in a distressing situation." Xianxia felt her heart turning warm. "One won't. She was with me. You can ask her." She chuckled. "First Madam, Mrs. Zhao was great. I will tell you what happened. You will admire her too after that." Xianxia chuckled. She was just promoting her own lipsticks. That did make her feel good. "That is wonderful. I can't wait to go back and hear about it." First Madam looked very curious. Soon the banquet started and Madame Zhao asked them to be seated at the table. There were 2 tables in total with 8 people at each. The elderly madams were in the main hall whilst the younger ones were in the wing hall. Xianxia came in with Yuezheng Ting, but she did not feel like sitting with her. She was worried that the girl was up to something. Had it not been for she stopping it, the tea would have spilled all over her back at the pavilion. So Xianxia kept herself away from Yuezheng Ting. But she was still framed eventually. The maid serving the soup spilled it on Lady Min who was seated next to Xianxia. She immediately kneeled down and begged for forgiveness, saying that it was Xianxia who hit her so she spilled the soup. Lady Min snapped at Xianxia. "You know how much my dress cost? 80 liang. Can you afford it? It is made from a new material and you ruined it." Everyone looked at each other, uttering no sound. After all, they did not care since they were not involved. No one wanted trouble for themselves. Unless it was Xiaoxian's friends who would defend her. But Xiaoxian had no friend and Lady Min was apparently a more promising contact to stick to for future use. Therefore they had picked their favored side. Those who were Yuezheng Ting's good friends were very happy to see how the show went. She was so angry. Lady Min, I saw that Mrs. Xiao, Xiao stopped her and turned to Lady Min, you are sure it was me? Lady Min sneered. The maid won't make a mistake, would she? Xiao smiled. Yeah, maids at the Zhao family are well trained. So, I don't think that they would make a mistake. The two ladies of the Zhao family suddenly felt embarrassed. Many ladies turned to them curiously as well. The maid should admit the fault even if it was not her. After all, she was a maid. So, either she was looking down at Xiao or just trying to get herself out of the trouble. A maid who should not blame guests so casually. Chapter 526. Money and clothes. It meant that she must have been assigned to do this, and it must have been approved of by the ladies of the Zhao family. Else a maid would not dare do something like that. Finally, it pointed to just one thing: the Zhao family wasn't a very nice family. Xiao was the first-time guest. Why should the Zhao family cause her trouble? Also, if a maid dares to do this, it was because her mistress wasn't nice. Totally immoral and uneducated. The two ladies of the Zhao family glanced at Yuezheng Ting and regretted it. It was Yuezheng Ting who had begged them and promised them something so they could arrange Xiao to sit next to Lady Min, who was narrow-minded and cared about her appearance. She wanted to set up Xiao. She did manage to set up Xiao, but Xiao got the Zhao family involved in this as well. Xiao added, since you are sure that it was me who did this, then Lady Min, I am sorry and I can pay you 100 liang for this dress, alright? Lady Min was startled and snorted. Pay me then. She could not help but burst with joy. 100 liang. She only had a monthly pocket money of 3 liang, and she barely had any extra money to spend. This amount was going to keep her rich for a long while. But Xiao added politely. Then my 100 liang should be able to buy out this dress, right? Lady Min should never be allowed to have this dress any longer, no? Too bad that it can't be washed by you. I can take it home and wash it myself. Could you please give me the dress? Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Most young ladies and madams laughed as they turned to Xiao disdainfully. She was indeed a countryside woman who even wanted a dress someone else had worn before. How humiliating. Yuezheng Ting laughed too. She was glad to see the situation develop like this. If she recounted the story to the whole mansion, everyone was going to laugh at her. Her elder aunt had considered this kind of girl as someone important. Wasn't she afraid of getting humiliated? Lady Min snorted proudly. Sure, pay me and the dress is yours. Take it as you want. Keep Lady Min company to get changed and remember to give me the dress when she is done. Xiao said and handed over 100 liang to Shi, saying calmly, then I can ask aunt who makes this dress so expensive and worth so much money, so I can also buy 2 sets of garments to take them home for my sister-in-law. It was very quiet in the hall. Everyone was startled. Lady Min suddenly realized what was happening. She flushed as she turned to Xiao looking furious. Xiao was still composed and looked at her calmly. She spent 100 liang buying the dress and she had all the rights to do anything she wanted with it. Everyone knew that Lady Min's dress was not worth 100 liang, or even 80 liang as she claimed. It would be priced at most at 8 liang. She was just bullying Xiao for being a countryside girl who knew nothing. She wanted to threaten and frighten Xiao so she could beg for forgiveness. Everyone had been amused to see Xiao offering 100 liang to purchase the dress. Chapter 527. Trap. It turned out that the joke was on them. As long as Xiao showed the dress to the first madam and told her that the dress was worth 80 liang and that she paid 100 liang for it, Lady Min would become famous for being greedy in the upper-class circle of the province. Moreover, the Min family would turn into a laughing stock. Lady Min was yet to be married, and no good family would want to have such a greedy and immoral person as their daughter-in-law. Everyone could not help but feel hair standing on the back. They could not help but feel fearful towards Xiao. They started to believe that Mrs. Xiao was not a stupid or ignorant countryside woman, and reminded themselves to stay modest rather than judging people by their looks, or belittling people. They might get themselves into trouble by doing so. Look at Lady Min, who had set a perfect example for them. She had dug a trap for herself to jump in. How horrible. Lady Nyan was so furious, but she could not do anything else except to stutter. I'm not selling this dress anymore. My bad luck. Okay, I don't want your compensation. Not anymore. That is not good. I never owe people anything, especially if such a dress is worth 80 liang. I will feel so bad. You are open-minded, but I can't take advantage of you. If you don't want to sell it to me, one will have to turn to the seniors to help me with the persuasion. So, please reconsider if you are selling it or not. Go and see if Aunt can join us for a while. I am sorry to trouble her. Yes, Mrs. Zhao. She got so excited that she was about to hurry away. Lady Nian panicked. No, not now. Qiuyue put on an even more sincere look. She has to go there, you know. I never take advantage of people, especially because this dress is so expensive. Lady Nian shivered out of anger, turning to look at Yuezheng Ting. She could tell clearly that Yuezheng Ting disliked Qiuyue. But Yuezheng Ting had been shocked by what Qiuyue did, and her mind was in a mess. What was going on? She had never expected that Qiuyue would dare to set up Lady Min. With one sentence, Lady Min was totally exposed. She was someone who bullied the weak, not someone who stood up to help others in trouble. Never. Therefore she moved away, pretending as if she had never seen Lady Min's pleading eyes. Lady Min flushed and turned pale. She almost burst into tears. Her maid was dumbfounded too. She threw herself onto the ground and said in a shivering voice, "It was me. It was me who bumped into Mrs. Zhao's arms so the soup was over Lady Min. It was my fault, please forgive me." But that was not what the maid from the Zhao family said. That girl insisted that it was me. So which of you lied? It is so funny. Why lie about such a small thing? Everyone present. Honestly. First Madam had spotted someone distinguished. No wonder First Madam had always been outstanding in her abilities. The two ladies from the Zhao family turned uncomfortable as well. One of them kept blaming Qiuyue for being so nosy to have pointed them out, dragging them down. But they should have realized that they were not being polite towards Qiuyue when they tried to set her up. Chapter 528. Satisfied in that case, Qiuyue did not care about their reputation either. Reputation was not given but earned. When someone intentionally set up people, they deserve to be humiliated when countered back. If Qiuyue saved the ladies of the Zhao family, would they be grateful to her? No, they would just feel lucky that Qiuyue never thought of them. Else they might assume that Qiuyue did not dare offend them. Qiuyue did it only because she knew, above all, that the First Madam did not like the Zhao family, who was a good friend with Ms. Mi Jr. Hence, she did not need to care about what First Madam would think about it. It is our fault. Zhu totally misbehaved. The ladies of the Zhao family reacted faster than Lady Min. They expressed apologies directly and ordered someone to get Zhu in to make apologies. Zhu turned totally pale and dumbfounded. But it was so normal that the maid became the scapegoat for her mistress. There was nothing she could do except to admit her mistake. She and Lady Min's maid admitted the mistake together. They bumped into Qiuyue but did not dare to admit that in panic, thus accusing Mrs. Zhao of the wrongdoings. They received the mistress's punishment. Lady Min had not yet given an open punishment, but Zhu was fined 2 months' salaries. They kept apologizing to Qiuyue constantly. Qiuyue had reached her purpose, thus she smiled, accepting the apology. Some ladies started to feel that Lady Min and the Zhao family were annoying. Luckily Mrs. Zhao was smart, so she revealed the conspiracy, otherwise she would have been totally misjudged. What was the Zhao family doing? Anyone at the door was a guest who should be received well. Lady Min was even worse. Was she so in need of money that she was resorting to blackmailing? The two maids admitted the mistake, but everyone was aware that they were simply scapegoats for their mistresses, covering them up so they would not be exposed. Lady Min was completely embarrassed, so she left, saying that she did not feel well. The two ladies of the Zhao family could not leave, but pretended as if they were innocent and continued to receive guests. But no one was interested in eating any longer. They pretended as if they were full and left as well. Same for Qiuyue. They were just about to walk to the main hall when Yuezheng Ting came in front of Qiuyue and faced her. She sneered. Happy now? The banquet has been ruined by you? Why do you say that? I didn't spill the soup and it was not me who caused the trouble either. Why are you accusing me then? How about saying that out loud so we can talk about this in front of everyone? Yuezheng Ting got so angry that she was stuck speechless. She snorted and looked deeply into her eyes. I never expected that you are so clever and full of tricks. I have misjudged you. Qiuyue thought to herself and believed that she was still being misunderstood by her. Yuezheng Ting did not know that she was rich. Nor did she know that she was also an officer's daughter. She also did not know that she was the one who produced the lipsticks. Most importantly, she did not know that her elder uncle's disease was cured by Qiuyue. If she knew all of these, she would definitely pass out. I don't know you well, second miss, and it is very normal that you don't know me. Yuezheng Ting snorted and left angrily. She was dumbfounded. But she was totally convinced by Mrs. Shad's conduct. Chapter 529. Reasonable. She thought to herself that no wonder First Madam liked this girl. She was very different from the others. What happened at the hall had reached the other side of the mansion by this point. Lady Nian's mother had to leave with her when she insisted. First Madam took hold of Qiao Xian's hands, asking concernedly, "Xian, are you all right?" First Madam asked in front of everyone present rather than secretively. A few ladies who had tried to defend Lady Min against Qiao Xian were stuck speechless. Qiao Xian felt her heart turning warm. She chuckled and shook her head. "Thanks, Aunt, I am well. Also, we have sorted everything out." Ms.Me Jr. sneered. "There is a saying, you should forgive when you _be forgiven. Xian, your behavior was way over the top. What was the point in doing all this?" "What are you talking about?" First Madam threw her a sidelong glance. Xian said that they have sorted things through. Sure, we need to be reasonable but not get others wrongfully accused of something as well. When First Madam was not around, Ms.Me Jr. was the face of the Yuezheng family in society. So when she was hailed into the air, she felt very arrogant. Gradually, she even started to believe that First Madam was never going to return to the mansion, thus behaving even more arrogantly. Now when she was lectured by First Madam in front of everyone, she felt both ashamed and annoyed. She said sarcastically, "Madame Jia is a good friend of our family, so she doesn't mind. But no one else would like to befriend such a girl who just causes trouble at a banquet. Why couldn't they just deal with the matter privately, rather than cause a scene in public? We don't belong to the same category." That was the basic rule in the upper-class circle. Second Madame Yuezheng. Qiao Xian said, "If someone's maids wrongfully accused the guest, I would not want to mingle with such a family either. I was lucky today to clear my name. If I failed to gain justice, I would have been blamed and Aunt would have been humiliated as well. That would make me feel very guilty." "Are you countering me?" Ms.Me Jr. snapped at her. "Sister-in-law." First Madam said coldly, "Xian is talking sense. As per you, you can accuse her of something but she can't defend herself? Anyways, whatever else you have to say, tell me when we reach back home." It was very quiet in the hall. First Madam simply could not stand this sister-in-law of hers. During the past few years, this sister-in-law kept saying bad things about First Madam and her family, which had reached First Madam's ears too. But the first section of the family only focused upon old master's disease, especially First Madam, who never cared about such useless gossip. But things were different now. She could not stand it when Ms.Me Jr. scolded the junior girl she had personally recommended. "Elder sister-in-law, are you lecturing me for someone outside the family? I am talking sense with you. You can defend yourself if I am wrong. 1 a.m. not putting any pressure on you or stopping you from defending yourself." Ms.Me Jr. could not defend herself. After all, the fault was that of Lady Min and the maids of the Jia family. If Qiao Xian had not pointed it out, it would just be a vague situation that could be solved casually. Chapter 530. Abilities. Unfortunately, the method in which she tried to cause trouble failed completely. Ms.Me Jr. was jealous that Qiao Xian escaped and hence, tried to lecture her as a senior. But Qiao Xian did allow that to happen and she was sheltered by the First Madam, so Ms.Me Jr. kept running into bad luck. Madame Jia felt bitterness filling up her heart seeing Ms.Me Jr. getting humiliated. She smiled and stepped forward. "It was the maid's fault and also my fault for not teaching them well. Mrs. Zhao is innocent, and Ms.Me Jr. was just being kind. It is my fault totally for causing this small problem. Oh yes, the play is on, let's go and watch the play." The other ladies let out a sigh of relief and nodded with a smile. First Madam threw a small look at Ms.Me Jr. and said to Qiao Xian softly, "How about watching the play? If you want to leave for home we can do that as well." First Madam had understood clearly what real affection was. Apart from some close friends and relatives, the others had turned to the second section of the family when they found that the first section of the family wasn't doing well. She had not thought about this before, but now she realized that this attitude made her feel emotional. Even if she was not friendly to them, so what? They had to suck up to her anyway. She was capable enough to be sucked up to. She was the First Madam of the Yuezheng family, and they needed to be polite to her, not vice versa. Qiao Xian shook her head with a smile. "It is okay, Aunt, let's watch the play. She did not do anything wrong. Why should she leave now? If they left now, Ms.Me Jr. might take the chance and cause trouble." First Madam smiled. Okay, just tell me when you feel like leaving. No one dared to look down at Xian any longer and served her carefully. No one dared to offend someone who was so strong, especially in a circle like this. Xian was strong herself and she was under the protection of the first madam, so no one would dare to cause any trouble to her. Ms.Me Jr. and Yuezheng Ting looked as if they were fine, but they felt so annoyed inwardly. They brought Xian here because they wanted to humiliate her in public so that first madam could be humiliated too. But things turned out to be very different. On the contrary, Ms.Me Jr. was lectured by the first madam, which changed her image in front of the other madams and young ladies. Everyone understood who was the hostess of the Yuezheng family, and that the second madam simply had no sway in the mansion. It was a peaceful and lovely time watching the play in the afternoon. When the first madam left with Xian, Ms.Me Jr. and Yuezheng Ting refused to leave. They wanted to have a few words with the madam of the Jia family. First madam did not care and left with Xian first. On the wagon she could not wait and asked Xian about what happened in detail. She laughed. First madam, let me tell you the story. She added a lot of details and moves as she recounted the incident, amusing first madam. Good. That was exactly what you should do. First madam took Xian's hand and smiled. I'll treat you as my daughter, and if anyone dares to offend my daughter, they will have to think about the consequences. Xian felt warmth in her heart and chuckled. Thanks, Aunt. First madam laughed and held her hand tightly. No need to thank me. Chapter 531. Limited version. Xian and Xiaoyunduan were going back the day after tomorrow, so first madam asked Yuezheng Xiao to get the wagon ready to drive them back, as well as the laborers whom they had bought. She had the presents ready too, such as the lotus roots and water chestnuts. Yuezheng Xiao nodded with a smile and asked his servants to do the preparations. He gave one batch of plain version of lipsticks boxes to Xian, and he would deliver the limited version to her personally when they were ready. While they were talking, Xian and Xiaoyunduan understood that after 2 weeks, Yuezheng was going to head northwest with goods. So, they were all busy at the Yuezheng mansion these days. They prepared and counted the goods, prepared the convoy and finally determined the treasurers and guards to follow. They checked and visited their families to see if everything was normal and relocated their families, etc. These things were cumbersome and there were too many matters to deal with. Though they were not difficult, it could take a lot of time to straighten things out. As they were chatting, the chief manager and the deputy manager came over to pass on the message. The couple decided to leave, but Yuezheng Xiao smiled. They must be talking about the tea business. You should stay because we may need your help with it. Yuezheng nodded with a smile too. True. The two managers were a little surprised, but they understood that these were the new suppliers for tea, thus saying nothing. But what they did not know was that Xian and Xiaoyunduan were not ordinary suppliers. They were going to supply them with the most cherished tea and bring many profits to the tea business of the Yuezheng family. The tea business comprised more than 1/3 of the entire business of the family. The two managers wanted to check how much tea leaves they should take along to the northwest. They had a lot with them, but the leaves turned rotten halfway. The Yuezheng family always stuck to reputation and they would not process the rotten ones and pretend that they were new. So they had to cast them aside. Therefore the actual profits were very less with time and energy as well as other costs counted. They needed to earn 60% or more so that people could be motivated to work harder. 20% of the profits could be earned even by small businesses. After all, merchants were far away from their relatives' hometown and traveled 2,000 to 3,000 miles or even farther. One could imagine how hard it was. All kinds of accidents and emergencies would occur on the way, so if they could not earn much, who would want to join them? The two managers meant that the weather wasn't good and there was a lot of rain, so the tea leaves would not be easily preserved. They suggested cutting the volume down so the goods would not be affected by the weather. If the rain kept pouring down, the goods would be destroyed again. It would take a few months for the round trip to be completed. If the profits could not be earned, things would look bad. Yuezheng was silent. The tea of the Yuezheng family was supposed to be sold to the nomadic tribes outside the pass. What the nomadic tribes lacked most were tea and salt. Chapter 532. Tea brick salt was under the control of the imperial court, and the Yuezheng family could not get their hand in. But tea had been their business for many years, and the Yuezheng family started with such a business. If they took smaller amounts, the tribes might get disappointed, and the other business families might take that chance and sneak in, replacing them as the main supplier. If they were replaced, not only tea leaves but other goods might not sell easily. As long as they had satisfying tea leaves, the other goods could be sold at the same time. If the amount of tea leaves wasn't enough, then they would need to find other new clients and turn to other aspects. That was not what Yuezheng was willing to do. They were mainly a tea leaves business family, and they were experienced in it. Also, Qiuyue and Xiaoyun's tea farms would have a small amount of goods in early autumn this year, but next year's supply would be greatly increased. After 2 or 3 years, it would reach a stable amount, and it would increase in the next few years steadily. Those were not ordinary tea leaves but golden sprouts and lavender. With these 2 categories of tea leaves, the Yuezheng family could expand this business line to the capital. Yuezheng had been trying to expand the business to the capital, but his father ran into an accident and the whole thing was postponed. Now his father had healed and the golden sprouts and lavenders were soon going to be available, so the plan could be resumed, and things would become much easier. After all, these 2 kinds were the most difficult to cultivate and the capital had a high demand for them. Hence, as long as he had the goods, no one would be able to get rid of them. They needed to stick to the tea leaves business. It should never fade away. But the weather had made things difficult in the recent past. What if the weather turned better this year? The 2 managers and the 2 owners started having an argument. Both sides had their reasonable contentions and did not retreat at all, so the argument became very lively. Qiuyue and Xiaoyun exchanged a look between themselves. What were they doing here? Watching the show. Xiaoyun smiled bitterly. He knew nothing about business, let alone tea leaves. But Qiuyue gave a suggestion instinctively. Tea leaves can be made into the shape of brick, easier to transport and much less likely to get rotten. She faintly remembered that there was a documentary about tea transportation, where the tea bricks were mentioned. The argument stopped immediately. The deputy manager did not show any look of contempt, seeing that it was the 2 owners' good friend who had spoken. But he still said calmly, "Mrs. Zhao, we are already using tea bricks." Yuezheng suddenly had hope rising inside his heart, when he saw this couple who had surprised them so many times. What if he made the right bet? Actually, bricks are differently made and processed. Some bricks can preserve the taste, color and avoid some flaws. Unfortunately, our bricks aren't good enough, so we are always seeking better ways to make tea bricks. But it is never easy. Qiuyue thought of the system in space. She felt like giving it a try. She thought for a while and said, "One seemed to remember having read something about craftsmanship of tea bricks making. I will try to recall those things and write them down for you. Maybe it will be of some help." They were all startled. Yuezheng was also taken aback. "Are you sure? We would pay for it if you have a better method for making tea bricks." Chapter 533, Tryout. Yuezheng nodded as well. But the 2 managers were dumbfounded, falling into speechlessness. What were these 2 owners doing? Did they really take what Mrs. Zhao said so seriously? The craftsmanship of such exquisite skill should be concealed in secret, and Mrs. Zhao would not just reveal that to them so casually. She must be joking. They would have mocked her but for the presence of these 2 young masters. How shameless she was. Qiuyue looked frank and honest. She smiled without any embarrassment. Let me give it a try. It didn't depend on her whether she could find a solution. She was going to look it up in space. If she could find the method, that would be great. If not, then there was nothing else she could do. Yuezheng had a lot of confidence in her. He nodded as if he already had received the method. Okay, please have a try. It doesn't matter if you can remember anything. Don't be stressed. I'm sure you can figure it out. Qiuyue. She could not make a promise till the time she didn't check it in her space. Soon, Qiuyue did find the chance to enter the space in the room, where she carefully searched the process for tea craftsmanship. To her surprise, she actually found one. Qiuyue read it carefully and bore the contents in her mind. She could easily remember the words since what she found here was connected to her consciousness. Later, Qiuyue slightly changed the method of narration and made a few changes in the details with the core contents remaining intact. Soon, a plan of tea brick manufacturing was formed. Xiaoyun helped her write them down as Qiuyue stumbled with her words. Xiaoyun did not know much about the tea bricks, but when he wrote the method down, he could not help but admire his wife. His instinct told him that this was really excellent. Every step was filled with characteristics as well as the items that they needed to watch out for. Xiaoyun read the paper carefully and gave an admiring look to his wife. "You had all of these in mind?" Qiuyue thought for a while and shook her head. "Not all. Some of them are my ideas, not everything is from a book. I just figured it out myself." No book would have a complete methodology of any craftsmanship, and Xiaoyun could not find such an excuse. Xiaoyun. Xianxia burst into laughter seeing her husband's surprise on her face. As for tea, in fact, the preservation is quite easy. I can figure it out from what I read. Apart from reading miscellaneous books, I also like to think about it when I have nothing to do. Many things here are what I inferred myself. I don't know if it's right or not. But the masters who make tea bricks have rich experience, they will know after trying it. Xiaoyunduan said, "You are right." Xiaoxian chuckled and nodded. The two of them smiled at each other. When handing over the paper to Yuezheng Xiaoyunduan euphemistically mentioned how it came about, so that Yuezheng Xiao and the tea brick makers would understand it well, and won't land in trouble by blindly following the instructions. They were supposed to think more about it themselves when they were trying it out for the first time. Chapter 534 presents Yuezheng Xiao was shocked as well. His sister-in-law was really bold and full of ideas. Then he realized that she was not an ordinary woman. She had read a lot and was very smart. She loved to think broadly and could come up with so many delicious things to cook. Tea bricks might be her specialty as well. Some people could be good at something that no one else was able to surpass. After the paper was given to Yuezheng Xiaoyunduan and Xiaoxian left according to the original plan. They could not be away from home for too long during this season of the year. First, Madame was unwilling to see them leave, but there was no choice. She ordered the kitchen to prepare a lot of things for them to eat on the way, and did not release Xiaoxian's hands for a long while. They had 5 wagons on the way back home. They didn't contain much luggage, but there were many people. Yuezheng Xiao had arranged it all and Chu Shan led the way. However, not long after they left the gate, Ms. Mi Jr.'s servant, Auntie Mao, stopped the wagon. "Please, young Master Xiao, Mrs. Xiao. Our madam has a present to give to you. Hence I am waiting for you here." Soon after, a maid came forward with a huge box. Xiaoxian did not take it but smiled. "Thanks, Aunt. Please tell second madam that we have accepted her kindness, but we don't need the present." "That's kind of you, Mrs. Xiao." Auntie Mao smiled as she led forward a girl in her teens. The girl was wearing a light pink embroidered dress, with a slender waist, petite and exquisite. She had charming and beautiful facial features, especially a pair of eyes, which were particularly enticing. Auntie Mao led her forward. The girl threw a glance at Xiaoyunduan, then she lowered her head, showing a snowy white neck and beautiful face, looking rather attractive. Xiaoxian, she understood what was going on. Xiaoxian suddenly felt uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. She threw a look at Xiaoyunduan and sneered, waiting for Auntie Mao to make her speech. "Young Master Xiao." Auntie Mao smiled. "This is Li Yun, a present our second madam gave to young Master Xiao so that you can study well. You need to have a smart maid next to you, right? Please accept it, young Master Xiao." Li Yun put on an even more bashful posture and bowed at Xiaoyunduan. "Greetings, young master." Auntie Mao smiled. "Get onto the wagon. Do remember to serve young Master Xiao. From this day on, you are young Master Xiao's girl." "Yes, Auntie." The whole scene made Xiaoyunduan, Xiaoxian and Chu Shan turn dumbfounded. Auntie Mao did not think that Xiaoyunduan would turn her down. All men liked beautiful women, especially scholars who loved to have charming girls to keep them company when they read. Li Yun was young, beautiful and lively. No man would turn her down, especially someone like Xiaoyunduan who was from an ordinary family. He would definitely want to have someone like her next to him. Xiaoyunduan understood what was going on. But this was the first time he learned about something like this. He flushed and said, "Wait a moment. I don't need her. Please take her back, thanks." Li Yun was startled, climbing midway onto the wagon. Chapter 535 For Aunt Li Yun was startled and so was Auntie Mao. "What did you just say, young Master Xiao? You did not want a beautiful girl for free?" Pressing down the anger, Xiaoyunduan repeated word by word. "I'll just said take her away." "What? Young master?" Li Yun looked up at Xiaoyunduan innocently. "What is wrong with me?" "Everything." Xiaoyunduan answered coldly. "Chu Shan, let's leave now." With that, Xiaoyunduan put down the curtain, and his handsome face was stiff. Chu Shan, who had been panicking anxiously, got really happy seeing people from the second section of the family get humiliated. "Yes, young Master Xiao. Auntie Mao, make way please." "Young Master Xiao." Auntie Mao could not hide her anger. She stopped the wagon and said with displeasure, "Second Madame Yuezheng is giving you a present out of kindness, young Master Xiao, but you are turning her down. Honestly, young Master Xiao, you are a guest to our mansion." Was he daring to humiliate the madam from the Yuezheng family? His face was stern, and without lifting the drapery, he said in a cold voice, "That has nothing to do with second Madame Yuezheng." He was not relying on Ms. Mi Jr., and he was not threatened by a servant. Honestly, the Yuezheng family needed his family's help, to be precise, his wife's help. Xiao Yunduan never felt that he was under shadow when his wife was more capable than he was. Instead, he felt really proud. Qiao Xian lifted the curtain and said, "Auntie Mao, thank you for the present. We can accept the present, but I want to clarify something. This means that she will be completely at our disposal, right?" Auntie Mao thought that something sounded wrong. But she did not dwell on that and added with a smile, "You are right, Mrs. Xiao, this is the present to young Master Xiao, and she will be at your disposal if you accept it." "That is great." Qiao Xian smiled. "Then I am giving her away to the first madam of your mansion, namely my aunt. Auntie Mao, kindly send her and the contract to my aunt so she can be pleased. A beautiful, nice maid will definitely make her happy." "What?" Auntie Mao's face changed. She was totally dumbfounded. What was this situation? Chu Shan could not hide his chuckle. He was watching the show proudly. Before the first madam and old master came back to the mansion, this old aunt tormented the servants of the first section of the family together with second Madame Yuezheng. So he was very glad to see her getting thrashed. Xiao Yunduan was pleased too. He said coldly, "My wife is right. Auntie Mao, do remember to have her delivered to aunt." "Yes, she is at our disposal, isn't she? Hence, it depends on us how we deal with her. Auntie Mao can't decide on our behalf, right? I don't think second Madame Yuezheng would be so stingy as to take back her gift. We will ask our aunt next time about it." Auntie Mao got so angry that her face twisted. Li Yun was so shocked. What did she do? Why was she treated like that? Chapter 536. Ignored problem. Chu Shan added with a smile. "Don't worry, young Master Xiao and Mrs. Xiao, I will definitely tell First Madam about this once I get back. First Madam doesn't lack servants, but since this is a present from you, Mrs. Xiao, First Madam will surely love it." "I would be glad if Aunt liked it. Thanks, Chu Shan." "This is what I should do." Auntie Mao shivered from head to foot. She almost passed out due to short breath. What a bully. How could the situation become like that? Qiao Xian threw a sidelong look at her, smiling. "Auntie Mao, anything more you want to tell me? If not, please move away. We are heading home now." Auntie Mao spat on the ground seeing them leave. She snapped. "What the hell, these impolite people. They have ruined second Madame Yuezheng's present." Li Yun turned really anxious. She asked in a small voice after a long while. "Auntie Mao, then I will." Auntie Mao glared at her. "What will you do? Serve First Madam?" "No, no." Li Yun shook her head anxiously. "I don't want to. Please save me." She had heard what First Madam was like. She would not dare to work for First Madam under such circumstances. Auntie Mao snorted. "We are going back to report this to Second Madam. She has her own idea. How dare you beg me for help? You are totally useless." Xiao Yunduan would have accepted her if she had been useful. Li Yun kept her head lowered, not daring to utter a sound. She had not expected that a countryside man would turn down a beautiful girl like her to become his concubine. She did not like Xiao Yunduan, but second Madame Yuezheng said that he was rich and could become an officer in the future, thus successfully convincing her. Eventually she was looked down upon. That made Li Yun really sad. In the wagon, Xiao Yunduan felt especially annoyed. He had not expected that Ms. Mi Jr. would be so disgusting. He threw a quick look towards Qiao Xian, thinking that he should say something. But Qiao Xian did not look very happy, and Xiao Yunduan somehow felt a little nervous, not knowing what to say. So, he could only glance at her secretly. Although Auntie Mao was driven away and the annoying Ms. Mi Jr. would get really pissed, Xiao Xian was indeed in a bad mood. She suddenly thought of a problem that she had been ignoring all this time. She was having a smooth time at her mother-in-law's home, and her mother-in-law showed her favor boldly among all of her 3 daughter-in-laws. No one even objected to that. Her elder sister-in-law and third sister-in-law all trusted her, so did Qi and Tao Tao, who admired her greatly and took her advice. Although her father-in-law wasn't that reliable, she was out of his control. Moreover, she did not care about the other sections of the Xiao family. Xiao Yunduan treated her nicely too, although they did not say it straightforwardly. Both of them should know that Xiao Xian was not going to leave the Xiao family and they would become a real couple in the future. Why not? Xiao Yunduan was nice to her and he defended her in front of the Qiao family. He even promised to her that he would always stay by her side, so that she would never be bullied or looked down at. Chapter 537. Unpleasantness. He had encouraged her to do business, to open a tea business, rather than restrict her by telling her that she should just obey her husband. With this as the basis, Xianxia knew clearly that she was never going to find anyone else in this era that would treat her equally well. Also, after spending much time with him, she had gradually started to like him. She could not find anyone else like this if she left them. But she suddenly realized one thing: the issue of wife and concubine. She had been carefree and busy making food and money because she never had the concept of this problem. After all, she was not originally born in this era. But now this issue suddenly happened. In this era, rich men often had concubines, more than one. As long as he could afford them, he would have 3 or 4 concubines or 3 or 4 maids as well as some sweethearts outside home. As long as a man wanted it. Xiao Yunduan turned down Ms. Li Yun given by Ms. Mi Jr., but what about later? Xiao Yunduan was a smart guy. Ms. Mi Jr. was up to no good, and he was not originally from a rich family, so before he became the officer, he would not accept the girl. What about later? Many people became arrogant and conceited after they were appointed as an officer. It was a fact. People changed. They were true-hearted when the conditions were the same, but who knew whether they would still remain the same when conditions changed? Maybe Qiao Xian had to accept his concubine being his wife. Else she would just be labeled unvirtuous and blamed by her mother-in-law, and by those from the Xiao family, friends and relatives. She did not care about the reputation. But she did not want to deal with such accusations. She did not want to be blamed by others or let such things ruin her day. Also, what if Xiao Yunduan himself wanted to have concubines? She could not drive them away by threatening him. If his superiors and fellows gave him beautiful girls, how could he turn them down, and how many times could he turn them down? The refusal might affect his career. Would he rather give up his career? Even if he failed to become an officer, he might still have concubines when he became rich. Qiao Xian felt really distressed as she thought about this. Life was going to be so hard. She had thought that she was lucky enough to have a good mother-in-law and a good family as well as a good man, but there was this hidden huge problem in front of her. So annoying. Qiao Xian looked up at Xiao Yunduan and felt distressed. Xiao Yunduan also sensed something weird going on with her. He felt very confused and anxious, thinking that it must be something to do with him. But he also hoped that it was not his fault. Yet the feeling was getting weirder than before. He could not help but observe Qiao Xian, and then he saw Qiao Xian's look of grudge. Xiao Yunduan was startled. "What is going on, darling?" What was going on? Qiao Xian snorted and suddenly felt sourness attacking her, as if she were already the wife without virtue, who was blamed by everyone in the neighborhood. She almost burst into tears. Xiao Yunduan panicked. "What happened, darling? Please don't cry." Chapter 538. Advanced Scholar. "I am not crying." "You are crying." Xiao Yunduan panicked. He said, "My fault, definitely my fault." "Of course it's your fault. Men are not good." Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan had no idea what happened. But he knew that his wife was not happy at the moment, which made him feel concerned. He thought for a while and then said gently, "Other men have nothing to do with us. Tell me what is wrong with me, please." Qiao Xian was so engaged in her imagination that she blurted out immediately, "You are going to marry a concubine." Xiao Yunduan was startled. "What? No, I am not." He denied it instantly. Qiao Xian snorted. "You will in the future." Xiao Yunduan. He was speechless. "L won't in the future either." Qiao Xian did not believe him. "You just saying nice words. When you become an officer, you will need a concubine to keep up your reputation. Or your colleagues and superiors give you one. You will need to accept them in case you offend them. Or your family will want you to have many children." The more she thought about this, the sadder she became. She believed that he had many reasons to accept concubines, but none to turn down one. Xiao Yunduan was startled. Qiao Xian's heart sank as she saw his reaction. She was so sad when she said, "Anyway, I don't care, we are." Xiao Yunduan covered her mouth before she finished her words. Qiao Xian glared at him furiously. He was gagging her. "I won't have any concubines." Xiao Yunduan sighed. "I don't have any now. Nor will I have any in the future." Noble and rich people had this custom, but he did not. Why did he need a concubine? He liked Qiao Xian and he could not imagine that he would be close to anyone else. He was not used to being with anyone else. and she did not like it either. Xiao Yunduan did not think Qiao Xian's concern was wrong. Instead, he felt more worried about her. She was born a concubine's daughter, thus hoping that he would not have any concubines. Feeling pity for her, Xiao Yunduan added, "One will treat you well." Qiao Xian was dumbfounded. She just realized that she had lost her temper for no reason. She suddenly felt a little guilty and embarrassed. Was he telling the truth? Is that true? Of course. If you ever lie, Al won't. What if Al won't? Then we will talk about this later. Xiao Yunduan swallowed down all the promises he was about to make. She did not need big promises. She needed to see what he did to her. Xiao Yunduan told himself inwardly that he was going to behave well. He was not going to give her a chance to leave. But Xiao Yunduan was laughing bitterly. He thought that if he became the recommended man, then he could possibly finally confess his feelings towards her. Now it seemed that she could only accept him after he became the advanced scholar and assure her that he would never have a concubine. Xiao Yunduan promised to himself that he was definitely going to become an advanced scholar. Only then would he be able to have her for real by his side. Chapter 539. On the couch hearing his solemn okay, Xiao Xian felt that he was sincere. That made her feel slightly better. That would do. She had a lot of money. Most importantly, Aunt Yuezheng treated her well, and the first section of the Xiao family were not unreasonable people. If that day really came, they could separate the properties and she could make sure the breakup went peacefully, even if it meant that she might face some losses. When this idea came into her mind, Xiao Xian finally felt slightly assured. She was not alone in this world anyway. But she did not want this to happen. Just the thought of it was distressing enough. They arrived at Heshan County by the evening and stopped by the Zhang village first. They had told Ding Erju and his wife about buying a dozen laborers before, so the couple wasn't that surprised to see them. They had got all the daily necessities ready. Anything that was missing they could go and fill them up the next day. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan gave them some instructions, and left the three families in Ding Erju and his wife's hands. They will drop by the next day. It was very late already and they could not do everything on the same day. They were going to have a detailed discussion the next day when they were going to pick the lotus roots. The coachman of the three wagons stayed overnight at the Zhang village, whilst Chu Shan drove the couple back to their village. The two wagons did not stop until they came into the yard. The six maids were quite nervous as they got off the wagon. Miss Fong as well as the other family was very surprised to see them. They had been informed about the arrival of the maids and they were used to Lu Yan's presence. So the six maids did not startle Miss Fong and the others too much. Soon they all calmed down. Qiao Xian led the six maids to kowtow to the whole family and passed on their names. It was very late and they did not need to work at this moment. They were arranged to live in the back house with three girls sharing one room. When the six maids were settled, everyone relaxed, especially Tao Tao and Qi, who approached Qiao Xian and smiled. Qiao Xian was also smiling happily. She had not met her family for a long time and she could not wait to share details of the trip with them. Xiao Yunduan's lips curved. He knew that his wife loved this family, and had long since developed sincere feelings towards everyone. So, he was going to do his best to keep her here. It had been a long day. After dinner and a simple wash, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan returned to their room for rest. Only then did Xiao Xian notice something strange. She and Xiao Yunduan had been sharing the same bed and pillow for a long while now. Also under the same cover that was too flirty. They did not have much space in the past, so they had to bear the limited conditions. But things were different after shifting here. They had so many spacious yards and rooms, and even the yard they were living in had wing rooms. So, Qiao Xian could live in whichever room she wanted. No one would know that they were not sharing the same bed. Qiao Xian suddenly felt a little annoyed, especially after she was irritated today. Well, you can take the bedroom. I will move into the east wing room. Xiao Yunduan looked up at her, deep into her eyes, but sensed no emotions. Qiao Xian felt slightly uncomfortable. She moved her eyes away, avoiding his look. But, Al will take the couch. Xiao Yunduan threw a look at the couch placed against the wall. Chapter 540. Not saying the couch was not wide or long, barely enough for one person. It would definitely cause discomfort. But he did not want to sleep in a different bedroom from Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian's eyes widened. There is no need, it will do. Xiao Yunduan smiled. In case Mom finds out about it. Also, no matter where you sleep, it is the same, isn't it? Qiao Xian was stuck with words. They all knew that she and Xiao Yunduan were a married couple, and they could not spill the truth about their relation to anyone else. Even if they were divorced, she would still be considered to have been through one marriage after all. So, there was no need to be too particular at this moment. Hence, they could just share one room in case some accident happened. Most importantly, Xiao Yunduan sounded so determined that she could not turn him down. But the couch doesn't seem very comfortable. Xiao Yunduan agreed inwardly. But he disagreed on the surface. That is fine. It is okay for me. Oh, if you don't feel comfortable, don't stick around. Take the East Wing room. Qiao Xian had no words to say any further. She had said whatever she was supposed to say and that was all she could do. Xiao Yunduan laughed and said gently, "It is getting late, let's settle daven." What? Okay. It was a quiet night. But when they got up the following morning, Xiao Yunduan looked very tired from sleeping on the couch. He had dark circles around the eyes and was massaging his shoulders. Qiao Xian felt a little guilty and said involuntarily, "What about you take the East Wing room? Or I can." "No need really." Xiao Yunduan smiled brightly. "I can manage." Qiao Xian was speechless. Okay then. When they got up, the 6 maids were already up. The 6 girls were cautious and timid, at a loss. They had no idea what they should do. Seeing Ms. Fang and Yang Xiaoni working, they went up to offer some help. But they caused a mess. Ms. Fang and Yang Xiaoni felt a little helpless as well. If they were told to work, there wasn't so much for them to do anyway. And Ms. Fang did not seem to feel that stone-hearted to give them so much work, seeing that they were afraid to be driven away at the first mistake. But they were the maids and they should work. Ms. Fang understood that maids should not be spoiled, after what they had experienced with Lu Yan. Otherwise the spoiled maids would cause the family trouble. They were different from Lu Yan. They were going to be kept at home for long. Seeing Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan walk in, Ms. Fang and her daughters-in-law let out a big relief. "Oh Miss Qiao, what should these 6 girls do? Please make some arrangements." As long as they were not lingering in front of her, or they would just cause trouble. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged an amused look. Qiao Xian smiled. "It is my fault, sorry for having caused you trouble. All you girls come here." The 6 maids also let out a sigh of relief, as if they had found the decision-maker. They answered and came to them. Qiao Xian glanced at them and felt very satisfied. With First Madam around, the agent offered her exactly what she needed for the family. These 6 girls were all very reliable. Chapter 541. Fear and respect. The agent had recommended 10 people, and she picked 6 out of them. All of them seemed like the right choice at that time. Actually, it did not matter if they were wrong choices either. If they found that any of the maids were like how Lu Yan was in her initial stage, when she did not do any housework, Qiao Xian would still not worry too much. She could just sell them and find better ones. Qiao Xian had already told them what they should do. She did not need to give them any lecture. She only summoned Tao Tao and Qi, who came to her side. "Your 5th brother will be heading into town today with me and we will buy some mutton. Let's eat mutton kebabs tonight. How does that sound?" Tao Tao and Qi's eyes started sparkling. They nodded constantly. "Yeah, okay. There is not much chili powder and pepper powder at home, we will grind some more today. By the way, grind some dry ginger powder, cumin and cloves too." Qiao Xian smiled and said, "You lead Qiuyue and Chuanfen to the bamboo forest to cut bamboo, and let them chop them into kebab sticks after cutting the bamboo. Each of them will cut 20 pieces. You take them there, tell them how to cut it and let them do the rest." Qi and Tao Tao were a little confused. They were fast and they could do everything flexibly. But since the 5th sister-in-law said so, then she might have a reason for it. So they nodded. Then Qiao Xian said to the 6 maids, "Heard that? Each person cuts 20 pieces and holds the cut ones in hands, don't confuse them with others. I will check them when I come back." The 6 maids nodded. Qiao Xian added, "Our family doesn't have much housework, and my mother and sister-in-law do the work by themselves on weekdays. As for you, you just need to help. In this way 6 of you will work in 3 shifts, 2 in 1 shift, and 1 shift a day to help with the work. Those who are not on duty can go back to the house to rest or do needlework. If there is something to do, whoever is called will go." The 6 maids nodded again. It seemed like a proper arrangement. The 6 maids felt assured and did not think that it would be messy as before. They were not the type who wanted to serve masters or madams in high-ranking families so that they could become excellent maids in the future. After Qiao Xian bought them, they could tell what their new mistress and master were like, after living in the province as well as experiencing the trip on the way home. They felt lucky that they had a great mistress who was neither stingy nor strict, nor throwing temper at her will, and who offered them much food and clothes generously. Most importantly, though they did not dare to peep at the encounter between Auntie Mao and Xiao as well as Xiao Yunduan, they heard everything clearly. Their mistress and master were nice and treated them well, but they were definitely not weak. So, the maids respected and admired them, and they would not cause any trouble. Even though they might have had some strange idea before, the idea was long gone. Qi and Tao Tao led Chunyun and the maids to chop bamboo. After that, they were offered breakfast before going to chop them further into pieces. The brother and sister were drooling for the oily and tasty mutton kebabs. With 6 more maids at home, the breakfast portion needed to increase. Xiao Xian said to Ms. Fang with a smile, "Mom, if you make steamed buns, porridge and noodles at home, let them eat it. For daily cooking, let them cook 2 dishes and 1 soup. Fry 2 dishes, but let the quantity be more than usual, and serve them in another bowl." Chapter 542. Lotus Roots. Then she told her about the work in shifts and the housework that the maids should do as well as what others should do in the meanwhile, etc. Rules needed to be set in the beginning, and people would be customized to it naturally. Although Xiao Xian did not care about rules, they needed to be set so as not to cause chaos. Miss Fang smiled. "Okay, that sounds like a good arrangement. It saves us a lot of trouble. You do not know how messy it was in the morning when those 6 girls were surrounding me wanting to get the work done." Yang Xiaoni was quite frightened too. "Yeah. I'm not used to that." Xiao Xian smiled. "Mom, you can tell them what needs to be done. Same goes for you, third sister-in-law. Honestly, there will be more people around us in the future." The breakfast served on this day was white rice porridge, steamed buns and flour rolls, as well as kimchi and chopped bamboo shoots, sauerkraut, bacon and chili and fried garlic. The white porridge was fragrant and thick, the porridge rice grains were distinct and full, and the taste was smooth. The steamed buns were white and fluffy, the flour rolls were smeared with scallion foam, and the aroma was tangy. The kimchi was mouth-watering and attractive. The diced bamboo shoots, bacon and sauerkraut are stir-fried, and they were spicy and fresh to the extreme, making everything look delicious. The breakfast was simple and full of taste as well. Xiao Xian converted an empty wing room in the backyard into a dining room for servants to eat, and set up the square table and stools. Qiuyue and the others would eat there in the future. They might not be used to cutting bamboos. So they did not wait for them to eat breakfast. They ate first, and then Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went to the Zhang village. The couple was in a donkey cart. As for Chu Shan, he left early in the morning. He needed to join people from the Zhang village and head back to the province. It could not be delayed. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan came to the Zhang village and called some people from 3 families and let them plant the lotus roots in the pond. The pond was dug years ago, but it only started storing water last month. All the trees that should be planted by the pond had already been planted. There were 2 weeping willows, 4 peach trees, 1 pomegranate tree, 1 loquat tree, 1 elm tree, 1 locust tree and 2 mulberry trees. Planting lotus roots was a rare thing. So many people were attracted to come and watch the scene together. Lotus roots? That doesn't look very good. So what? I heard they taste good. I have seen the flowers before. They are beautiful. Can they be planted here? Planted in the pond? Yeah, didn't hear that before. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yun ignored these gossips. They watched Lin Mian and Xiao Shisan planting lotus roots by the pond, but what Xiao Xian saw were tender, green, pearl-like lotus seeds in autumn. They could be stewed in soup, cold-dressed, stir-fried, ground into powder and steamed for eating. They could also be used as sweet-scented osmanthus lotus root, or lotus root powder. That would be such a great thing. She never worried about whether they would survive. When the lotus roots were planted, water chestnuts would be available for planting as well. Water chestnuts could not be planted in the pond. They needed to be planted elsewhere. The seedling could be done first, then transplanted. Xiao Xian entrusted Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou to deal with this matter. With lotus roots in the pond and the water chestnuts on the way, fish and shrimps would come next. They had to fetch the small fish and shrimps themselves. They thought about getting Qi and the others to get some fish and shrimps from the river after they reached home. Chapter 543. Plan. The fish could not be fetched with a net, because the fish carried in the net were mostly on the verge of dying, thus not being able to live on. If they passed away in the pond, pollution might be generated. So they had to use the scoop net. But there were many kinds of fish in this era, and the fish and shrimps were for themselves to eat, not to be sold. So they did not need to worry about it. The fish and shrimps, when raised in the pond, might reproduce many more after a couple of days. Qiuyue believed that she would need to pick the good ones to be raised in the pond. When the planting of lotus roots was done, Qiuyue and Xiaoyunduan, together with Ding Erju, took the three families to have a look around their home. The transplanted tea trees were growing well and had started to bud as well. The creeping figs were looking good too. By the time summer came, there was going to be a large patch of green. The creeping figs grew the fastest. With Qiuyue's superpower helping along the way, the speed was raised by 3 or 4 times. Qiuyue visited the tea trees in the morning at their home as well. She used some superpower when they first budded, so they were flourishing and had grown tall to more than 1 foot. Qiuyue planned to wait for one more rain so that she could do the transplantation. After Qiuyue and Xiaoyunduan checked the tea forest and the creeping figs, they returned to the yard and told Ms.Yan and the others about what they ought to do. The paddy fields did not need to be managed by them, and were planted by the tenants. They were responsible for taking care of the tea groves and scallops, including scheduling inspections every day and reporting problems in time. They were also responsible for weeding, pruning and fertilizing. They all had some half-grown children, so they bought 6 bulls for them to manage. The 6 bulls were bought for the tenants' convenience. Moreover, bull dung was also used to fertilize rice fields. It was not good if they had none. The fields would turn too useless as years went by without the bulls. The tenants did not use them for free. They would rent them at a low price. A bull was calculated on the basis of 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon, and the rent was only 3 won per day. The cost was so low that it made tenants almost mental. Everyone was very willing to rent it. When all the trivialities were done, it was already lunchtime. Ms. Zhao and her mother made lunch for Xiaoyunduan and Qiuyue, who were very well received. It is a casual lunch, please, but the food is very clean. When the construction of the house was built, Qiuyue had noticed that she was a very nice, friendly and warm, more social than Ms. Zhao. So, she hired her too by paying her 1 liang a month. In this way she could be of some help as well. She was not restricted by too much work and could go home if she wanted to. Madame Zhao was very happy to accept the position. So, she moved in with her grandchildren. She could plant her own vegetables, raise chicken and ducks. All she needed to do was bring some grains. 1 liang a month was a lot for her. Only fools would turn down the offer. Qiuyue and Xiaoyunduan were not picky people. So they accepted the offer and ate lunch. There was 1 plate of scrambled eggs with chives, 1 plate of steamed sausage, and 1 plate of fried smoked meat with garlic sprouts. Simple and clean, the ingredients were good and the taste was not bad. The couple ate lunch and hurried into the town to buy meat. They had smoked meat, sausage, fish and duck, pickles, salted and preserved eggs at home. All they needed was fresh meat. Qiuyue was greedy for mutton kebabs. So was everyone else. They decided to have a huge dinner that night. They bought 10 kilograms of mutton with both fat and normal meat, 2 sheep's feet, 4 pig's feet, a rib and a piece of pork belly. The pork belly would be made into twice-cooked pork and braised pork the next day, and the rest would be marinated tonight itself. Chapter 544. Encounter with Agent. They bought fresh meat and decided to head home. There was nothing more they needed for the moment. Soon they ran into the land agent, coincidentally. The land agent's eyes widened when he saw the couple. He waved at them and smiled. Young Master Zhao and Mrs. Zhao, what a coincidence. I was just thinking of you. I have got 70 mu of paddy field at the Zhang village. Do you want it? If you do, please decide now, or I will turn to someone else. Qiuyue exchanged a look with Xiaoyunduan. They both nodded. Yes, yes. 70 mu or even more, we want it all. Continuous good fields were not very easy to buy, especially in the well-developed towns and villages. Well, if one really wanted to buy some, they would need to pay a lot for that. It was a possibility but not a very practical solution. Qiuyue believed that it was indeed very lucky for this land to be offered at this moment. What a wonderful thing. Xiaoyunduan thought for a while and smiled. The paddy field should be all right, no? We have done a lot of business together before. The land agent smiled. Don't worry. I won't dare to sell any fields with problems. I need my reputation, don't I will never do anything to ruin my own name. That was true. They passed on the business over generations, and needed to have a good, steady reputation over a long period of time. If they did anything that ruined their reputation and got reported, the county magistrate had the right to rip them off the position and replace them with someone else. Anyone with a clever mind or in a good position would never do such a thing to ruin their well-established business. assured Xianxia added. But I don't have much money with me today. The land agent smiled. All right, how much do you have? The couple exchanged a look between themselves and pulled out the cash. This much. Xiao Yunduan touched his nose. I have nothing. He just had 1 liang with him, which was basically the same as nothing. The land agent smiled. Then you can give me 200 liang and write an IOU. You can give the remaining silver to me tomorrow, okay? The couple nodded. Soon they were taken to have a look at the field and sign the contract after the visit. Zhao Xian smiled. We have 310 mu of paddy fields, we are almost like a landlord family now. Xiao Yunduan nodded in agreement. It was almost 4 in the afternoon when they went back home. Xiao Xian took a short break and went to prepare for the dinner. Xiao Xian was in charge of cooking with a lot of people helping along the way. So, everything was ready very quickly. Xiao Sanlang burned the fire to wash the meat, put it in a pot with marinade and stewed it. Yang Xiaoni chopped the mutton finely. Ms. Z's stomach was not too big, so she went to the vegetable garden to pick some vegetables. They were going to eat grilled meat with some vegetables to avoid it from getting too oily. Xiao Xian thought about it and made 1 bowl of fishball soup. There were fresh large grass carp in the pool, 2 of which weighed 4 kilograms and 4 to 5 kilograms respectively. The fish bones were stewed in soup. The fish heads were made with pickled sour peppers. The round snow-white fish balls were boiled in a clear water pot, sprinkled with green onion and coriander. It turned out to be delicious. They were going to eat grilled meat, drink a bowl of fishball soup each and eat some fish balls. Everything was made out of fresh ingredients. Qi went to catch and kill fish, removed the bones and took the meat. Xiao Xian checked the bamboo sticks which the maids had made. She understood what she should do next. She needed some careful people to help her with lipsticks. Not every maid was like that. She needed to pick the best one, and that's why this task had been given to them this morning. Chapter 545. Time to make lipsticks. She had a clear preference of whom to pick. She was going to make the leader manage the rest. When the bamboo sticks were done, Xiao Xian asked Qiuyue, Chuanfin, who were on duty, to join herself and Tao Tao to plant betel nut taro and spring watermelons. She gave the seeds to her mother-in-law so that she knew when to plant them. She kept 1 betel nut taro and sliced them into pieces so they could be deep-fried and steamed later, which went perfect with braised pork belly. She kept 2 spring watermelons which could be used for cold dishes at dinner. Xiao Xian cut the mutton and made the seasonings, which were better than those done by others. They had the meat marinated for 2 more quarters and had them all put onto the sticks. Generally, there was a small piece of fat sandwiched between 2 pieces of lean meat, which was suet. Roasted lamb could not be all lean, it had to be sandwiched with small pieces of lamb fat. The lamb fat was roasted so that the oil was browned, sprinkled with pepper, salt and pepper noodles, and when it was bitten together with the lamb and the lean meat, the freshness and the tenderness of the sheep oil melted in the mouth. It was so delicious that people could not extricate themselves from the enjoyment. Along with the mutton, other vegetables and mushrooms were also skewered. The fish balls that Xiao Xian had squeezed fell into the water one by one. They could just boil them whenever they felt like eating some. When the sun was setting down, they set up the grill shelf and Xiao Xian asked Tao Tao to invite Ms.Yan over so they could all eat together. Ms.Yan often ate at the first section of the family, and Ms. Niu did not care anymore. She wished that she could eat often at the first section of the family so the food at home could be spared. On Ms. Yan's visit there, she kept Ms. Su company and taught Tao Tao to do needlework. She always had the excuse to come over. So, she was never there for food specifically. Ms. Zhang felt so jealous of her, but there was nothing she could do. She was not the one who was welcome there. The maids were not with them for the kebab. But they were served enough food. Ms. Fang, eldest uncle, Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Dalong as well as Ms. Su all needed to eat something else. Grilled meat was not enough. There was a bowl of stewed pork ribs, fish head with chopped pepper, fish ball soup with coriander and green onion, fried yam and fungus, vinegared cabbage. The maids had 1 large rib bone and 2 fish balls, vinegared cabbage as well as yams and wooden ears. They were so shocked when they got the food. The well-cooked and delicious stewed ribs and the fresh and tender fish balls gave them endless aftertaste. They had not expected that they would be provided such good food in the countryside. The grilled mutton was tasty and tender, fresh too. The mushrooms and vegetables had amazing taste. The fish ball soup removed the oiliness from their mouths. The apricot blossoms in the flower field were blooming just in time, and the peach blossoms were also almost ready to open. The trees were full of dense buds. It was time for them to make lipsticks. There were not many peach and apricot blossoms, and the beeswax left was not enough from last year. So, they would only manage to make at most 200 to 300 lipsticks, including the limited version. That was enough for the maids to learn. Xiao Xian did not go into the city to pay the rest of the money to the land agent. She discussed it with Xiao Yunduan and they gave the money to Qi so he could go into the town to do the needful. Qi was very happy to be entrusted with such an important mission. He carefully folded the note into his arms and promised in a serious tone that the money would be given to the land agent safe and sound. Xiao Xian showed a lot of confidence in him, which made him happy. Qi was not young anymore. This was just delivery of money, not such a difficult task to accomplish. Chapter 546. Watch out if the notes were stolen or dropped, it was fine too. They had more money to offer. Xiao Yunduan was studying at home. He had 2 articles to write and in 3 days. He was going to visit Master Yan. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao as well as Yang Xiaoni went into the flower field with the 6 maids. They were going to extract some oil. They had been relaxed during the whole winter and were only working on cooking different dishes. So when it was time to work, Tao Tao and Yang Xiaoni felt somehow expectant and excited. They loved delicious food but they loved making lipsticks to earn some money. They felt so eager to earn the money. So did Miss Su. She could not help but mention it to Xiao Xian. It is just flour picking and grinding. These are just light tasks. We are not some spoiled town women. When I was pregnant with my first 2 children, I was still doing housework when I was almost about to give birth to them. 30 won a day was the salary from the generous Xiao Xian, who would also offer them a bonus after the sale. In this way they could earn 10 or 20 liang altogether. Now her husband was recovering from the wound, and he could not do heavy work. She was free but there was no income coming to their family. So she was very anxious. In Xiao Xian's opinion, pregnant women needed to be taken care of very well. They had money and laborers at home, and all Miss Su needed to do was sweep the flowers, feed the roosters and wash her own family's clothes. She did not need to do any other tasks. That was what Miss Fong told her too. After all, their daily life had been improved. So, Xiao Xian could not possibly allow her to work in the flower field. What if she fell or something happened? That would be a huge deal. Xiao Xian also knew that Ms. Su wanted to earn money. So, she did not turn her down entirely but smiled after thinking for a while. Elder sister-in-law, I have got the maids. Now, what we need to do is to make sure that they work accordingly. We don't need to do the labor personally. After you have the child and finish the first month, there is a lot of work for you to do. If you are bored, could you please make some shoes for me? Shoemaking was a relatively easier and safer job. What Miss Su was worried about, above all, that Xiao Xian would replace her with someone else. So when she heard this promise, she smiled and nodded with a smile. That is good. 5th sister-in-law, you can ask me for any kind of help in the future. I have very little work to do, so I will make you the shoes when I am free. Xiao Xian smiled. Thanks, elder sister-in-law. Miss Su started to work on the shoes without thinking about anything else. Xiao Xian was a very generous person. She would not let her do the work for free. What she needed to do was to make the shoes. When Miss Su was settled, Xiao Xian and Tao Tao headed to the flower field with the maids. Before they walked into the field, Xiao Xian warned the 6 maids not to mention anything about what they saw in the flower field to anyone. They were not even allowed to speak of it while casually chit-chatting with anyone, or they would be fined half a month's salary. Worse, they could even be fired if they spilled anything. The maids got very nervous. They put on a serious look and nodded constantly. When they went into the flower field, they were all shocked. What caught the eye most was the rows of shrubs as high as half a person, with a wooden frame for climbing and standing in the middle, and bushes with buds on both sides of the wooden frame. Chapter 547. This? Apart from these, there were also rhizomes of unknown plants that were less than a foot high, and took up a large area in the field. There were trees in the distance, some had grown leaves, some had yet to sprout. There was also a patch of faint crimson, which should be sporadic peach blossoms and flower buds that could not be opened. The patch of pink color was apricot flowers. The maids were shocked. What? Mrs. Xiao told them not to reveal anything about this? Xiao Xian did not care what they were thinking. She led them into the middle of the land, where there were rooms on the left and right with the front and back being transparent. When they took out the key to open the door, Tao Tao and Yang Xiaoni cheered up. They went to fetch the baskets proficiently. The 2 of them had ventilated and cleaned the room yesterday. As long as there are raw materials, Xianxia could start making lipstick immediately. The two of them waved at Xianxia and went to pick flowers with the maids. Xianxia was walking around, checking the flowers. She poured her superpower into the flowers so they could grow better and blossom more in a wilder color. There were many deserted lands in the neighboring area. With 6 more people added to the labor, they could expand the harvested land and plant more flowers. All of these would be under her charge. Xianxia felt very pleased. Working with flowers, surrounded by them, was indeed a very pleasant experience. In addition to the main colors of Chinese roses and ordinary roses, there could be more like peach, apricot and plum flowers. Other types could also be added, such as cannas, Chinese trumpet vine, safflowers, chrysanthemums and so on. By mixing various colors in different proportions, they could get richer colors and produce lipsticks in more shades. Apart from flowers, they could also try extracting colors from other objects that were not toxic, which could be applied to the lips. Her space had a lot of area and they could definitely be stored. Maybe she could even have reclaimed land for planting. That would make everything much easier. Tao and Yang Xiaoni told the maids to be careful when picking the flowers, so that the petals would not be destroyed, and the flowers could be maintained in the original way. They would pick the flowers in full blossom and half blossoms so the 2 flowers would not be mixed up. They needed to work fast because the flowers had to be cleaned and the petals should be carefully handled. That was a painstaking task. The peach blossoms and apricot blossoms were not as big as roses. The petals were thick and easy to remove. This was the first time for Tao and Yang Xiaoni to deal with such small flowers. But the peach blossoms were delicate and the apricot blossoms were enchanting. They were both very beautiful colors. They must look good when made into lipsticks. The women really looked forward to the result. The maids nodded and started to pick the flowers. Wuxia could not help but approach Tao, asking curiously, "Miss, what are we picking these flowers for? Can you tell us about it? We can be more assured if we know what they are going to be used for." Since Mrs. Zhao took them into the flower field, she had not planned to conceal the secret from them. That was why Wuxia dared to ask. Upon hearing the question, everyone pricked up their ears. They stopped whatever they were doing and looked at her. They would know about it sooner or later. Hence, there was no need to conceal it from them. Tao smiled. These flowers are very precious. They are used to make lipsticks. Chapter 548. Gasp. So, you have to be very careful when picking the flowers. The colors would fade if the petals get crushed. Lipsticks. Lixia's eyes widened. She got so astonished that she had no idea what was going on for a moment. The others were shocked too. They were trained at the agency before they were sold so that they could be sold at a good price. They had heard about the lipsticks and when the agent talked about this she spoke highly of them. They still remembered the admiration of the agent. That was something the noble ladies in the province loved. It was said that only young Master Yuezheng had them in his store and that it was sold nowhere else. The reputation of lipsticks had spread beyond the province. No one knew where young Master Yuezheng got the lipsticks from. So, they were from this field of flowers in this small village? Everyone felt that they were delusional. Lipsticks, the ones sold in the province? Lixia's eyes were about to pop out. She still could not believe what she had heard. Dazed. But the lipsticks could not be the ones sold in the province. Tao was even more surprised when she heard the question. Anyone else is selling something called lipsticks? Wuxia. That was true. They all gasped. They ended up being in an amazing mistress home. She was the one who was making the lipsticks. She was going to make a huge fortune. Aloes, young Master Zhao was the cultivated talent and he was going to participate in the imperial examination in autumn. Maybe he was going to become really promising in the official government. Miss, we will definitely be careful about the flowers. Wuxia made a promise in a serious tone. We will never mention anything about it after we step out of the flower field. The other maids brought themselves back and made the promise too. Me too. I promise to be careful. Tao blinked her eyes and exchanged a confused look with Yang Xiaoni, not knowing what to say. Just pick the flowers. Okay, miss? The maids were so motivated that they held their breath as if they were about to do something really important. More than an hour later, they had 3 baskets of apricots and 1.5 baskets of peach flowers. They all went to Qiuyue when they were summoned. They picked off the petals, removed the stamens, then washed and drained the water slightly. Then they put them into a small hand mill made of white jade. One person put the petals in and the other turned the millstone. They had 4 mills, enough for them to work at the same time, which made the process faster. The red flower pulp slowly flowed out, gathered into a thin stream, and flowed into the next bowl with a big belly and a narrow mouth. The bowl was covered with a double layer of muslin gauze sewn into a small pocket. The flower pulp flowed into the small pocket. After grinding, the small pocket was twisted lightly, and the flower juice seeped out. After filtering twice, the clear flower juice could be obtained. Next, it was Qiao Xian, Tao Tao and Yang Xiaoni who would finish the remaining task in the room. Yang Xiaoni wasn't that adept. She was just helping Qiao Xian and Tao Tao. After the mold was done, they needed to be left there. There would be 46 pieces made out of this. When the mold was removed, they would continue with the rest. The process would take more than 2 hours, after which they could return home for lunch. Chapter 549. Stupid enough. After lunch, they could make one more batch in the afternoon. The molding tools had increased in number, but there were not many flowers. 2 batches should be enough in one day. When Chinese roses as well as pomegranate flowers were in full bloom, they were going to make 4 batches a day, starting from early in the morning. That would not be too difficult when they had many people working together. The maids were still quite confused how those flowers turned into lipsticks when they left with Qiao Xian. But no one was stupid enough to ask this question. That was the secret only the mistress knew about. Qi returned in the afternoon and brought back the IOU note, which was given to Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. They had 2 batches of lipsticks finished by the end of the day. The day after they would be able to get some more flowers. The next day, Qiao Xian, Tao Tao, Qi together with Qiuyue and Xiaji went to the river to fetch some fish and shrimps. Xiao Yunduan did not join them. He needed to visit Master Yun every single day. Master Yun had been fed up with living here. So 1 week later he was going to start his trip down south. Hence, Xiao Yunduan had very little time left to be instructed by him. Xiao Yunduan felt his heart emptied. He felt quite sad when telling Qiao Xian about this, who consoled him. But Xiao Yunduan also understood that Master Yun did not belong to this place. He was a very knowledgeable person, and Xiao Yunduan did not even know where he was from till now. What he needed to know was that Master Yun had discovered him and educated him. He was not going to stop him from traveling down south. He was just a junior who had been taught for a small period, and he was not his official disciple, thus not having the rights to intervene in his decision. All Xiao Yunduan could do was to ask Master Yun what he wanted to know and what he needed him to prepare for him. Money or other things would do. Master Yun did not lack money, so he did not ask for that. But he was very interested in the small snacks from the Zhao family. So he made a long list which included smoked meat, sausage, duck, fish, salted eggs, preserved eggs, chili sauce, diced bamboo shoots and mushroom sauce, dried plums, dried bamboo shoots, jelly seeds and so on. Xiao Yunduan accepted the request readily and asked Qiao Xian for help with the preparation. Qiao Xian believed that Master Yun was like a saint in heaven, just as Xiao Yunduan had put it. Qiao Xian trusted Xiao Yunduan and she could not help but develop some sense of admiration towards the old man. She nodded in agreement and expressed that she was definitely going to make proper preparation. He had done Xiao Yunduan a big favor and it was a favor to her too. He was her savior as well. So, Xiao Yunduan was barely at home in the past few days. Qiao Xian did not need to make much effort to get those things in the list ready. So they went to fetch the fish and shrimp during the daytime. Yang Xiaoni and Xiao Sanlang, together with the other maid, went into the vegetable field to plant another kind of vegetable. Soon, the corn, taros and soybeans should be planted down as well. The fish and shrimps scooped out of the river needed to be kept in the pond, so 3 buckets of medium size were taken along to carry the things. There were many river shrimps there, and 1 casual scoop would lead to fetching abundant water creatures. There were loaches, small fish and crabs. The crabs were thrown back into the river. She knew that there were a lot of snails in the river. She managed to pick up 2 buckets and put them in to raise them. They could be eaten and even fed to the fish. Chapter 550. Fish catching. Qiuyue and Xiaji were a little nervous at the beginning, but gradually they relaxed and started helping out happily. Qiao Xian could see fish and shrimps swimming between the water grass, some of which were really big. But she was not that skilled, so she asked Qi to help. She gave him 7 out of 10 correct directions. Before lunchtime they already had 3 buckets filled with shrimps and all kinds of fish, most of which were wild crucian carps. They rented the bull cart and headed towards the Zhang village together. They poured the 3 buckets of fish as well as water grass inside the pond. Yuezheng was very good at fixing the fish pond. He had cut a lot of thick pine branches from the mountain, sunk them into the pond and piled them up together, which could shade the fish and provide them a hiding place. On the surface of the water, bamboo poles were used to form a square frame of medium size, and pillars were inserted into the bottom of the pond to fix the square frame. The fish would be fed in the four-square frame in the future. Qiuyue did not intend to raise the fish for sale, and didn't provide them any feed. The tender grass, aquatic plants and vegetable leaves, which were needed to feed them every 5th or 6th day, were going to be available. With the basket framed, the vegetable leaves and grass leaves would not float around. Some terrier fish did not eat the rest, and they could be easily salvaged in one place. 3 buckets of fish were still too few. There was a river close to the Zhang village, so they all headed there, seeing it was still early in the day. They wanted to try their luck to see what more they could get. Yuezheng smiled as he asked Qiuyue, "Landlady, do you need eels, loaches and mussels?" Qiuyue's eyes were sparkling as she nodded. "Yes, all of them. Those were wonderful and delicious things." Yuezheng smiled. "Great, I will fetch them for you." In the ditch beside the rice field there were a lot of eels and loaches. There were also mussels in there. When they went down to the pond they could step on them with their feet. Qiuyue smiled and thanked him. "This is great. Uncle Yuezheng, fetch more when you have time." In this way they made lipsticks one day and caught fish the next day. The process lasted for 5 or 6 days and the pond was almost done. The fish were also enough. Those were for them to store. They could just scoop the fish whenever they needed. The good ones could be kept in the pond for later use. The apricot flowers were blooming, and they could be picked after 5 or 6 days. Later, the peach flowers would be in bloom for 11 or 12 days. It was getting very warm and the grass was thriving and so were the flowers. The bees started to get really busy again after a silent winter. Bees could be seen on almost every flower. When they stood under the tree they could hear the buzzing sound. Qiuyue was thinking about getting more bee boxes to raise more bees and fetch the wax. The paddy field was watered and soon, it was time for them to have the spring plow. At this time, spring bamboos, mushrooms and all kinds of vegetables were growing, which was very appealing for everyone around. The fresh and tender spring bamboo shoots were extremely sweet, whether they were fried with meat or fried, or used as stuffing for dumplings. It would all turn out to be delicious. All kinds of mushrooms were picked, including the tenderest ones that had just emerged from the soil, and they had a fresh mountain flavor. They could be stir-fried with the meat and served on a plate, and the aroma would waft all over the kitchen after a short time. Chapter 551, Grudge. Chinese tune sprouts, water celery, wild onions, wild leeks, shepherd's purse, dandelion seedlings, iris lactea, bracken and more could be found with some effort. They could be brought home, blanched as cold salad, or used to make steamed vegetables, and even mixed with minced meat to make fresh stuffing. Especially Chinese tune sprouts and bracken, which were the most appealing. It was just a short window of time for them to get to eat those things. Chinese tune sprouts with eggs, Chinese tune sprouts mixed with tofu, Chinese tune sprouts with fried bacon, fried Chinese tune sprouts wrapped in egg batter, Chinese tune sprouts omelet, and even pickled Chinese tune sprouts could be delicious. The plants could also be ground to make Chinese tune sprout sauce during this time. Brackens could be fried with smoked meat and bamboo slices. Apart from those wild vegetables, the small cabbage, small rapeseed, choy sum and so on in the field had also grown, and they were very fresh. There would be a lot of delicious food to eat in spring for the family. Qiuyue and Qi as well as Tao Tao often visited the mountains and brought lots of food home. Bamboos and mushrooms were the best example. There were so many of them that they could be sun-dried as well for later use. There were also a lot of roosters, rabbits and roe deer hunted. Compared with preserved meat, fresh meat had a better taste. Qi even hunted one wild deer weighing 50 kilograms, which cheered up the whole family. They stored meat for 3 or 4 days and only gave out a few to others, since the members at home had increased in number. The deer meat was still fresh the next day after it was hunted. Qiuyue did another round of grilling with it. She marinated the meat for grilling, which gave it a very special taste. Then they also made some dried venison. After it was finished, it weighed about 2 kilograms, so they kept it for themselves and ate it little by little. While they were enjoying the delicious dishes of spring, Qiuyue and Xianxia did not expect that they had formed a grudge with someone accidentally. 3 days after Qiuyue and Xianxia bought the land from the agent, the housekeeper from Zhao Guanghua's home ran into the agent and after some small talk he asked, "Oh, the 70 mu of the Zhang village? Sold already?" The land agent smiled, sounding pitiful. Old Master Zhao did not need it and businessman he needed to sell the land as fast as possible, so someone bought it without saying much about the price. The housekeeper looked embarrassed. He forced a smile. Oh really? That is a shame. The land agent smiled. Well, this is how it is. The seller needed it to be sold as soon as possible, so I had to hurry up. Otherwise I would ruin my reputation. Housekeeper got so annoyed, but he still forced a smile. True. To whom did you sell the land to? The housekeeper was very curious and distressed. This patch of land was close to the land of old Master Zhao's. If he had bought the entire land, it would have made it easier for him to control the land together. In this way the land could be enhanced to a middle-class size. But when he heard about the seller's urgency, he thought about getting some bargain. Also, old Master Zhao gave some presents to several friends who might have been interested and able to afford the land, telling them to spare the land for him. After getting favors from old Master Zhao, those people agreed since they did not need the land so urgently. Old Master Zhao was very proud and confident that he would be able to get the land, so he kept bargaining and did not want to retreat. Chapter 552. Not selling. Eventually, the seller told the land agent that he will not sell the land to the Zhao family no matter what. The Zhao family was arrogant and they were the county magistrate's good friends, but so what? He was leaving the country soon and he would be out of their control. The land agent was very angry about the Zhao family's behavior as well. The good field was worth 8 liang per mu, but old Master Zhao tried to take it to 5 liang for 1 mu. That was blatant robbery. The land agent had wanted to ask Xianxia and Xiaoyunduan about it and they ran into each other accidentally on the same day. That's how the land became theirs. Since the Zhao family was playing a trick, then the land was not going to be sold to them. The land agent did not have any specific intentions towards Xianxia and Xiaoyunduan. Those who could offer the proper price would become the owner. So, he was being totally reasonable. He had no idea what old Master Zhao had done behind his back. So, when the housekeeper asked him about that, he answered him calmly without trying to humiliate the Zhao family. The land agent would have told the housekeeper who bought the land if the buyers had not been Xianxia and Xiaoyunduan. But the couple had repeatedly stressed that the agent should keep the secret for them, and even entrusted him to sign the contract. So, the land agent did not answer his question. The agent said something vague and the housekeeper asked no more. The two of them waved each other goodbye. The housekeeper had a stinky face as he headed back to the mansion with the news. Old Master Zhao turned furious. He struck the table and cursed. Who in the hell bought my land? Look into the matter and tell me who dared to steal my business. He said sinisterly, I am going to make him pay. He had been so confident and done a lot of work just to make sure he could get the land. But now, it turned out to be totally opposite from what he had expected. He had thought that the land agent would get anxious and try to sell him the land after being ignored for 3 days, so that he could be easily persuaded. But someone else cut in. Old Master Zhao was very wealthy and always had a very smooth career. So, he became really arrogant after making so much money. Moreover, the land agent did not want to reveal the buyer, so he was sure that this buyer knew about his intention of buying the land, thus humiliating him by cutting in. He was going to find him. He was not stupid. He was very smart. Xianxia and Xiaoyunduan had always kept the secret about them buying land at the Zhang village. But if someone wanted to look into this matter carefully, they would more or less be able to find out the answer. Ding Erju and his team would not say a thing, and those from the Zhang village would not think deeply if a story was woven and told to them. Housekeeper did not delay and sent out his men to look into this matter on the same day. After a few days they finally found the accurate news. The housekeeper learned about it on the day when Xiaoyunduan accompanied Master Yun and his servants leaving the county. He told everything to his old Master Zhao. Old Master Zhao sneered. Shouting village? Those poor people who make a small fortune. I think they should die. How dare they steal the land from me? A cultivated talent? Who does he think he is? Old Master Zhao showed a look of greed. You said that they have more than 200 mu of good fields and 1 tea mountain of over 500 mu. Chapter 553, Ding Qiuyue. That's true, old master, I heard everything. That family has made some fortune recently and bought so many things behind people's backs. They are keeping it a secret. Bah. Old Master Zhao sneered. Soon those places would be mine. If they know what position they are in, they would definitely give those things to me on their own so that they can save themselves some trouble. Otherwise, they will regret it for the rest of their life. Housekeeper flattered him. You are right. How dare they steal your stuff, old Master Zhao? It is only right that they pay it back to you. Honestly, when the housekeeper learned about the large amount of properties that belonged to Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, he was shocked. He also felt really jealous. He had always looked down at poor farmers. But now there was a farmer's family who made a fortune and bought so many properties. He felt that he had been put into the shade. He was really envious and angry. He looked forward to seeing bad luck happening to them. He just did not like it. So many fields and tea mountains. His master was going to take these over now. After some discussion, old Master Zhao and the housekeeper came up with one solution. He had a concubine called Ding Qiuyue, and she was 21 years old. She looked really charming and was from the village. Ding Jiahao was one of her side relatives. Her uncle, Ding Qiuyue, became old Master Zhao's concubine when she was 16 years old. She was just a concubine and could not go back to her mother's home as per the rules. Old Master Zhao had paid her family 10 liang and that counted as buying her out. She was spoiled. If she behaved well, she could get some presents delivered back to her mother's family during New Year's time. But she did not dare to ask too much, else old Master Zhao's wife would get really irritated and torment her. The wife could just get her killed as easily as pinching an ant. After all, she was just a concubine without any background. But this time, old Master Zhao allowed Ding Qiuyue to return to her mother's family. Ding Qiuyue was surprised. But she was scared too. When she heard that old Master Zhao needed her to do some serious business, she felt much less worried. Ding Qiuyue was wearing a turquoise embroidered dress, with silver hairpins and pink silk flowers on her hairpin. There was thin powder on her face, her eyebrows had been darkened. She had embroidered shoes on her feet, and a handkerchief in her hand. She got out of the wagon with the help of her maid Hongyu, and attracted the attention of a lot of people from the village. Isn't that Qiuyue? Long time no see. You are getting prettier. Look at what she is wearing. She seems to be leading a nice life. But she is just a concubine. That is not good at all. She is just a concubine and is still living well. Still, it is much better to marry a poor farmer. Ding Qiuyue's dad was called Ding Jiahuai and her mother was called Ms. Guan. Hearing those words, Ms. Guan glared at them and asked Ding Qiuyue to come into the yard, and she shut the door. Those villagers know nothing. Ignore them. Ms. Guan said as she observed her daughter. She was so well dressed and pretty, and that made Ms. Guan feel really satisfied. She smiled. You are looking so beautiful, almost as good as the noble lady from that big family. Look at what you have on you. Chapter 554. Prying. Ding Qiuyue forced a smile and withdrew her hands secretly. Only she knew what kind of life she was living. She was just a concubine and it was not at all a good life. People who were short-sighted would say so. Zhao Ming was dressed well and was wearing all kinds of ornaments. That was what a noble lady was actually like. On the other hand, she only had a few pieces of jewelry, and a few sets of garments that might lift up her spirit a little. Even Zhao Ming's maid lived a better life than she did. Even her monthly salary was higher than hers. But she would not dare to accept too much money given to her, otherwise Madame Zhao would punish her. Old Master Zhao was an old man reaching almost 50 years. Being a concubine for such an old man did not seem like a good life to her at all. She had run into old Master Zhao one day in the market and old Master Zhao liked her instantly. Her parents approved of this marriage. What else could she do? But that was still better than working in the farming field and not being able to get any meat to eat. She couldn't have tolerated that kind of life. Well, that was what she said to console herself. She had not been home for years and the mother and the daughter kept talking with each other. But when it came to food, she saw plain vegetables and cabbage as well as one small plate of smoked meat only for her. Ding Qiuyue felt unhappy. She ate much better at Zhao's mansion. There were always 2 dishes with 1 soup, each of which would contain some meat. Sometimes she could even eat more and better when Madame Zhao was in a good mood. Anything there was better than what she was being served here. She just could not eat these things as she looked at them. Ding Qiuyue emotionally reminded herself. She was not used to the old bitter days after she spent so much time at the Zhao's mansion. She forced herself to eat half a bowl of rice and put down the chopsticks. Moreover, she could not get used to the accommodation. Ding Qiuyue did not want to stay over anymore. She was thinking about leaving directly after finishing the job. On the day when Ding Qiuyue returned to the village, Xiao Xian asked Tao Tao and Yang Xiaoni to make lipsticks with 4 maids, whilst she and Qi went to pull up the tea tree saplings from the garden with the remaining people. They tied them into bunches and carried them to the Zhang village for planting. Due to Xiao Xian's superpower, tea tree seedlings had grown to more than half a meter high, and were very strong. The main stem was straight, the branches were full, and the appearance was very good. No one from the first section of the family had done this before, and since it was in the garden which hardly anyone rarely visited, no one would wonder why the tree seedlings grew so fast. The rain stopped and the day was still cloudy. But Xianxia knew that it was not going to rain on this day, nor on the next day. But the rain might come the day after tomorrow. So, it was the best time to plant the tree seedlings. They started to work even before dawn. After breakfast, they transported the first patch of tea tree seedlings to the Zhang village. Together with her own maids and 20 people she had hired from the Zhang village, they planted the tree seedling. It would take 3 days to finish the work. The seedlings would not take up all the land and should be done in half of the area. One more time of seedling the next year and all would be finished. After all, she knew where the golden sprouts and lavender were in the mountain. What she needed to do was to use her superpower to make them bloom, so the fruits were naturally harvested. She had visited the mountains just a few days ago. Chapter 555. A try-visit. Xianxia had been busy with her work, and when she came back home, it was still very late at night. Xiaonie could not wait to share the gossip with her after seeing her coming home. They had also completed their job at the flower field. Ding Jiao's daughter, who was old Master Zhao's concubine, was back home. It was not very strange that someone was a concubine. She was born to a concubine, but she had never lived a life as a concubine's daughter. Nor had she seen anyone who was a concubine of someone. But hearing this news, she more or less felt a little surprised. She also found it a little strange. But she did not dwell on it for much longer. She just exchanged a few words with Yang Xiaoni, Ms.Yan and Ms. Su. This concubine had never been home for years, but now she was at home in an extraordinary manner. It was said that the Zhao family even gave her a wagon to come home, and the Zhao family gave her many presents to her parents. She even had maids with her. That was strange. The tea tree seedlings grew fast and soon, the rest should be done after the transplantation. Xiaoxian decided to use her superpower to promote growth. In this way, the transplantation was definitely going to work out well. Everyone was very busy. They had a lot of work to do every single day and were all very hungry by the end of the day. Xiaoxian was in charge of cooking. Today she steamed the sausage, washed the smoked duck with warm water, chopped it into pieces, added garlic sprouts, shredded ginger, garlic cloves and dried chili. Finally, she stir-fried it all together. Then she braised 2 big crucian carps. There were still a lot of small river prawns that were dried the day before yesterday, and she cooked them all tonight. She fried the river prawns with fresh and tender leeks. The green and red colors were distinct, and they gave off a very nice smell. She made another stir-fried dish of wolfberry sprouts, cold shepherd's purse, and that was it. Dinner was the meal that the whole family looked forward to most every day. The dishes were tasty and they contained a lot of oil. So, even if they worked the whole day without stopping, they could still feel relaxed after having been served such delicious food. Everyone took a warm bath at the end of the day and relaxed. After resting for one night, the energy returned. The following morning, Qiao Xian, Qi, Li Qiu and Li Xiao went to pull out the seedlings and tied them into a bunch. After breakfast, they asked Qi to deliver one batch to the Zhang village. Qi left the house while Qiao Xian and the others continued to pull the seedlings. They should be done today, and after one more delivery in the afternoon, they could start to plant at the Zhang village the following day. No more deliveries would be needed. The seedbed for raising seedlings was turned over and tidied up. Well, it was almost time to plant watermelons. Moreover, peppers, tomatoes, eggplants, beans, pumpkins, wax gourds, chayotes could all be planted. Qiao Xian would not plant so many vegetables in the garden. Only watermelons and tomatoes would do. The others would be planted in the garden later. There would not be any more fruits to add this year. The current ones would be enough. The peaches, apricots, plums and pears had all bloomed and borne small, green bean-like fruits. The loquats had also bloomed and bore fruit. The fruits were becoming bigger and riper. The hanging ones were growing very well. In 2 more months, the tree would be full of golden yellow color and the fruits should be sweet. In the yard, Miss Fang was cleaning the yard whilst her grandchildren were playing on the ground next to the flower parterre when someone knocked at the door. Miss Fang got up, dusted her clothes and went to open the door. Miss Fang, hello. It was a woman in her 20s, wearing pink silk embroidered clothes and her hair held in a bun, looking very beautiful. She had a maid next to her. Chapter 556. Dislike MS. Fong found her familiar but did not recognize her. She narrowed her eyes, sizing her up. "Who are you?" Qiuyue smiled shyly. "You don't recognize me, Miss Fong?" Miss Fong let out an exclamation and was reminded of the girl in front of her. "You are Qiuyue." Qiuyue smiled. "It is me. Long time no see, Miss Fong. You look stronger and younger than before. Also, you have such a wonderful house. You are living a better life than before. No wonder you look much better too." Qiuyue smiled and praised the house as she walked into it. She had been flattering Madame Zhao for years, and had developed the ability to praise. She had always been good at flattering people anyways. That made Miss Fong very happy. She smiled brightly. "Not really. Just that we have many people in our house and we saved some money to build the house." Qiuyue smiled. "But not every family with so many people like yours can afford this house. It must be because of your sons who helped with it, right?" "True. They are all excellent." Miss Fong laughed again. But only now did Miss Fong realize that Qiuyue should not be here. She stiffened. She felt regretful as well. Qiuyue was a concubine of an old man in the town, and old Master Zhao was almost as old as her father. She should not have let her in since that wasn't a very nice thing to promote. Also, her family had never hung out with this girl earlier. Qiuyue was very surprised when she walked into the house. It was better than hers. Although it was not as glamorous as the Zhao family's house, yet it was clean, bright, and neat. It was comfortable and spacious, equipped with every single thing needed. Especially the glazed window. Not every window of the Zhao family's house was glazed. What on earth did the Zhao family do that they became so rich all of a sudden? Qiuyue almost blurted out the question. "Well, is there anything you want from me?" Miss Fong asked, coughing slightly. Qiuyue smiled. "One haven't been home for years, so I am just walking around. I passed by your place and decided to have a talk with you. Are you alone here? Where are your children?" Miss Fang's face sank, but she smiled. "They are out to do the labor work. They can't get lazy at this time of the year, can they?" "True," Qiuyue smiled. "But I can understand that except for one thing. I heard that one of your daughters-in-law is the county magistrate's daughter. Is she also working in the field? That doesn't seem likely." Miss Fang's face turned bad when she heard the question. Xianxia had a special background, so many people would ask about her every now and then. Miss Fang did not like it. She was her daughter-in-law, and no one else was in a position to judge her. Miss Fang did not want to explain anything to Qiuyue. So she answered briefly. "Yeah, Miss Zhao is always very diligent." Qiuyue smiled. "That is very rare. You are lucky." Miss Fang felt bad and became kind of furious. Qiuyue was just an old man's concubine. She was not in a position to comment on whether she was lucky or not regarding Xianxia being her daughter-in-law. Chapter 557. Careful. She was not in a position to comment on Xianxia. How annoying she was. Miss Fang did not want to say anything more. "Qiuyue, I am going to the garden soon, so..." Qiuyue knew that she was looked down upon by many people in the village, and even she herself thought lowly of herself. Miss Fang was one of the few friendly ones. If she continued to stay, then it would be a problem. Also, she had reached the purpose. She had witnessed what the Zhao family was like and how miserable Xiaoxian's life was. "Okay, I am off now, thank you." Qiuyue stood up and left with Hongyu. Fang walked her out and shut the door. Hongyu pursed and said disdainfully, "Just a countryside woman. So arrogant." Qiuyue threw a look at her and said nothing. That was already a very wealthy household for countryside people. If she had the choice, she would choose to live in a family like that. It would be so sweet and nice. Back at home, Qiuyue asked Ms. Guan to hire the bull cart so she could return to the town. She did not want to stay here anymore. She was not used to life here at all. What was the point of staying here? Ms. Guan would have liked that her daughter could stay longer, so she could share some gossip of those rich people, which she was not able to hear in her daily life. But she could not stop her daughter, who insisted upon leaving quickly. She repeatedly told Qiuyue to serve the old master well so she could get pregnant soon, best get a son. Qiuyue got really impatient and interrupted her. The old master would turn 50 in 2 years and the eldest grandson was already 12 years old. How could he make her pregnant? That idea was totally hopeless. On the way back, Qiuyue kept thinking about how to tell her old master what she had seen. Back at Zhao's mansion, she was summoned by old master Zhao directly. The housekeeper did not pry into the Zhao family deeply. He did not think that a countryside family would be worth looking into. Ding Qiuyue did not know much about the latest news after only living at the Zhao's mansion for so many years. She only learned some more after speaking with Ms. Guan. Old Master Zhao was surprised. So the disgraced concubine's daughter of Officer Qiao was married to one of the sons of that family. The fifth son's wife is the second miss of the Qiao family. I didn't dare to make any decision, thus asking you what I should do later. She had to be very careful when she was dealing with the official's family. Old Master Zhao nodded at her in satisfaction. Good, you are right. How isms? Qiao's life in the Xiao family? Ding Qiuyue looked disdainful as she smiled. Not very good. When I spoke of second miss, her mother-in-law didn't seem that happy. I asked her a few more questions. It seems that she still needs to work in the field. It seemed that the Xiao family never treated her as the daughter of the county magistrate. Old Master Zhao sneered and believed that was totally reasonable. The second miss had been disgraced, and was even worse than the third Mississippi. What was the point of wearing the title of an official's daughter? Maybe when the Xiao family found that she was a discarded girl and no one to back her up, and that she could not bring any benefits for the Xiao family, she would have been bullied there. As for the news that Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went to the Zhang village a few times to buy properties, Old Master Zhao subconsciously believed that Xiao Yunduan was the one in charge, whilst Xiao Xian was just a plus one. Chapter 558. The Zhao family's secret fortune. Old Master Zhao asked Ding Qiuyue what was going on with the Xiao family. Ding Qiuyue told him the truth. The Xiao family had a very large and luxurious house, with every piece of furniture totally new. All the windows were glazed as well. Obviously, the Xiao family had made a fortune. Old Master Zhao was surprised. All glazed windows? That cost quite a lot of money. Even their own family did not have it. The Xiao family had not only made a fortune but had made a huge one. Otherwise, poor countryside people would not have splurged like this. In fact, the Xiao family would not have spent this much money in building a huge house like this, but for Qiao Xian's proposal. Qiao Xian was disgraced, so her dowry must not have been a lot. So, what on earth did the Xiao family do that they made a huge fortune? That seemed weird. Did you find out where the Xiao family got the money from? Any news in the town? Normally, this kind of thing should have been spread all over the village. Even though it might intentionally be kept as a secret, some people would have heard something. Even if they did not want to admit a thing like this, the rumor would have originated from somewhere. Ding Qiuyue shook her head, forcing a guilty and bitter smile. Sorry, I didn't hear anything regarding this. There was no rumor in the village. Even my mother has no idea about the fields at the Zhang village. But old master, don't worry, I did not tell anyone about this. If the news that the Xiao family had properties at the Zhang village, which later became the Zhao families, people would wonder how that would happen. It was good that no one from Shapting village knew about this. The Zhao family could definitely get the properties in his hands and make a fortune unexpectedly. Old Master Zhao nodded his head. It seemed that the Xiao family was just lucky to have made a huge fortune all of a sudden. That was why they did not say anything but started to buy land outside their own village. As for the big house in the village, Old Master Zhao did not think that it was a big deal. Countryside people had never seen glazed windows, so how much that cost did not surprise them at all. Even when they saw the Xiao family's big house, they would not think that would be worth a lot. Also, no one would look into the house across the tall yard. Okay, you can leave now. Okay, Old Master. Old Master Zhao did not consider giving up even though he learned about Qiao Xian's identity as County Magistrate Qiao's daughter. He was not going to get humiliated by the Xiao family who stole the stuff that should have belonged to him. She was just a concubine's daughter. Officer Qiao's wife would not defend her, so she would have no one backing her up. He could steal stuff from the Xiao family, and in the worst case he could just visit the Qiao family and give them some presents along with a few nice words. Then all would be fine. Madame Qiao was not going to defend a concubine's daughter, was she? Well, he had to be fast about the whole thing and avoid making a scene. Otherwise it would be very difficult for Officer Qiao to stay away from the mess. Old Master Zhao smiled sinisterly. He already had an idea about what to do. He needed to make use of this concubine of his. They spent half a day sorting through all the tea tree seedlings. After lunch, the pile was loaded up for Qi to transport to the Zhang village. At noon, they made fish porridge, steamed white noodle buns, and cooked a pot of fish soup. Chapter 559. Understanding person. Thinly sliced fish fillets were marinated with ginger, scallion, yellow wine, and salt. After the porridge was almost cooked, the fish fillets were poured and dispersed with chopsticks. The snow-white fish meat soon turned pink and tender, as the fragrant smell flew out of the pot. Chopped chives and lettuce were sprinkled over it, making it even more delicious. Qiao Xian asked Li Xia to get Ms.Yan over for food. She needed to speak a few words with her afterwards. Ms.Yan was a very understanding woman, and she had thoughts of her own after spending so much time with them. The first section of the family had been so busy and Qiao Xian Tao went into the flower field all the time, but Ms.Yan never asked anything about their purpose. Nor did she suggest that she should follow along. If they did not want to tell her something, she would not pry. Ms.Yan was the only person who knew how to befriend the first section of the family, and only she knew what to do and what not to do. She must be the only clear-minded woman among all the other relatives in the second and third section of the family. That made her a rare person. Qiao Xian did not want to waste such a clear-minded woman. The first section of the family had already lived separately from the other sections of the family. So, unless the other sections of the family caused some tremendous trouble, they were still connected with bloodline. Xiao Yunduan had a long, promising future, and there would be many people who would be jealous of him, including those in the village. There would be people who will try to cause trouble among the sections of the family. The first section of the family could protect themselves once or twice, but not always. If someone with a clear mind could restrain the second section of the family, the third section of the family would not be able to cause any major trouble. Also, but for Ms. Yan's information, Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian would never have found out anything about the real secret behind Xiao Dalong's accident. They would only have taken it as an accident. Therefore, what more would that annoying couple do in secret again? But for Qiao Xian's superpower, Xiao Dalong would have lost his leg and not been able to walk, let alone do any heavy labor work. So, that sinister couple was really ill-hearted. One would never know what was coming next. Hence, Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian owed Ms. Yan a huge favor. It was time for them to pay that back. Ms. Yan had to work in the field these days, so she could not spend too much time with Ms. Fang's family. But every evening on her way back home, she would come and exchange a few words with Ms. Fang and Ms. Su. So, it was very normal that Qiao Xian sent her an invitation. Qiao Xian knew what Ms. Niu would think about this. So, she made sure the invitation reached them at lunch. Before Ms. Yan could say a thing, Ms. Niu quickly said, "Just go and have lunch there, so we don't need to cook your portion." Ms. Yan. She had no choice but to nod casually, sighing inwardly. This was so embarrassing. Ms. Niu believed that it was a free lunch that her daughter-in-law should take from the first section of the family, who had already started to buy servants. But Ms. Niu got nothing from them, which made her feel annoyed. After lunch at the first section of the family, Ms. Yan sighed again. She felt that if she kept eating at the first section of the family, she would not be able to eat a thing at her own home. If only they could move out. But it was not yet the time. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan asked Ms. Yan to have a private talk in their room. Ms. Yan's heart started to throb. Suddenly she had a feeling that it was going to be something good. So she was both nervous and expectant. Chapter 560. Kind-hearted Qiao Xian smiled at Ms. Yan and said earnestly, "Thank you for telling us what happened last time, fourth cousin-in-law. But for you, we would not have been prepared for what might happen afterwards." Yan's heart skipped a bit. Yes. It was indeed the matter regarding what the former land officer and widow's son did to others. The couple was so fierce. So, their current situation served them right. But she was very scared and shocked by what they did to others. "We have always wanted to repay you, fourth cousin-in-law, but it took a while before we could talk about this. Sorry for the delay." No, it is okay, I did nothing big," Qiao Xian smiled. "Fourth cousin-in-law, one heard that your family is into making tofu, so I have an idea here which may be helpful for your family." Noon from the second and third section of the family was capable of this task, and any kind of fortune-making method would be ruined in their hands. But Ms. Yan's family was very clever. What Qiao Xian needed to do was to tell Ms. Yan, who could help her mother's family with this method. In this way Ms. Yan could even help her husband to get a share. That would be enough. That was the decision made by Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian. Ms. Yan nodded with a smile. "Not just making tofu. My brothers can sell a lot of tofu every day. And everyone loves our tofu. 2 restaurants in the town buy tofu exclusively from us." "That is great." Qiao Xian said, "I have got a couple of ways to make bean products here, and I can find a way to send it to the province. If this thing is made well, we don't need to worry about them being sold. If your brothers and the others in your family are interested, we can go over and talk about it in detail. If they are willing, we can do this business together. We get 20% of the profit, and we will share the cost for that 20%. We will not interfere in the daily affairs, and your brothers are still in charge. Ms. Yan threw a look at Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan smiled briefly. ELT is your fifth sister-in-law's idea, so she has the say. Ms. Yan smiled brightly and got very excited. She said without hesitation, "You are all smart people better than us. I trust your ideas. I will come up with a way to go back home and ask my family about it right away. I'm sure that they will agree." Ms. Yan could see that the reason why the first section of the family could make a fortune was because Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian were smart people. But Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma could not see that. They only wanted to cause trouble. No wonder they never got anything good happening to them. Ms. Yan did not know much about what exactly was their idea. But she trusted them completely. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan did not need to set her up. There was nothing about her that was worth being set up for. Xiao Xian smiled. "That is great. We will be waiting for your news." "Good. I will be off. We'll talk later." After Ms. Yan left, Xiao Xian smiled at Xiao Yunduan. "Hope that the fourth cousin-in-law's family would not turn us down. In this way, the second section of the family should have someone in charge, and the third section of the family would not be able to do anything alone." Xiao Yunduan took her hands and withdrew quickly before she realized anything. He smiled and said gently, "Thank you, darling." Xiao Xian was startled. "I'll just want to live in peace." She was not trying to help the first section of the family solve trouble. She could not be sure if he was going to be her husband for real. Chapter 561. Ms. Yan's visit home. Xiao Yunduan was a very gentle man. He curled his lips and nodded in agreement. "You are smart and you have saved us a lot of trouble. I can deal with the rest." Although the future was not certain, those sweet words were totally suitable to be spoken in this way. Xiao Xian could not help but smile brightly. Holding the excitement in her heart, Ms. Yan returned to the second section of the family pretending as if nothing were happening. She ignored Ms. Zhang's sour words and asked Xiao Xiling, namely her husband, to join her in the field. Zhang had been saying mean things about her and laughing at her all this while. She said that she was even worse than the maids at the first section of the family, and that her flattery did not work because they never taught her how to make a fortune. She said that Ms. Yan kept sucking up to the first section of the family and it was so stupid of her not to give up. Yan was very angry at the beginning, but after hearing those words for too long, she ignored her whenever she tried to say something. But when she heard the words today, she had a slightly different thought in mind. If Ms. Zhang knew that the first section of the family was helping her out so her family could make a fortune, Ms. Zhang would definitely get so annoyed. That made her feel refreshed. Ms. Yan never believed that Ms. Zhang was pitiful. She just found her behavior to be disgusting. She whispered to herself in heart. "Wait and see." The couple had just walked out of the village, when Ms. Yan told her husband that she needed to pay a visit home instantly, and that her husband should work alone in the field so that he could shield her. Xiao Xiling did not ask the reason for it, but nodded with a smile and asked her to return as soon as possible. Ms. Yan had an ordinary appearance, but she treated her husband with a true heart. She was very gentle and considerate in almost every aspect, so Xiao Xiling was totally taken in by her and agreed with whatever she said to him. Ms. Yan rushed back home and told her parents and brothers about what Xiao Xian told her. She even tried to persuade them into saying yes to the proposal. Mr. Yan and his two sons all exchanged a look between themselves. They had no idea what was going on. What was wrong with Yan Jiao? She rushed home and told them such a vague thing that confused them totally. Mrs. Yan realized what was going on before everyone else did. She said, "My daughter is right. It is definitely going to be a great idea. Let's get them here to talk about it in detail. We need to talk face to face. One don't think my daughter ever makes any mistakes." She had spoiled her daughter rotten. Ms. Yan was very excited and rubbed herself against her mother. "Mom, you are the best." Mrs. Yan was very excited as well. She consoled her with a smile. "Of course I am." Then Mrs. Yan said with determination, "Good. Get them here and talk about this." Ms. Yan said, "The sooner the better. Tomorrow will do." Mrs. Yan. "Yes, tomorrow works." The father and the two sons. Mr. Yan sighed. "Okay, it is a deal." If he tried to object to the idea, the mother and the daughter would make a huge fuss about it. Once her work was done, Ms. Yan was about to go home. But Mrs. Yan did not want her to go so easily. She asked her daughter-in-law to boil a few eggs for her to eat on the way and even asked her son to accompany her home, making sure she was safe. She even told her not to come here alone, but to bring Xiao Xilang with her. Ms.Yan had to agree to her mother. Chapter 562. Meeting with the Yan family. She was not walking on an isolated path and came across many familiar faces, though not everyone was familiar. How could she run into any trouble? Once her brother accompanied her to the entrance of Xiaoding village, Ms. Yan insisted that he should go back. So, her brother had to leave it there. Ms. Yan went into the field and joined Xiao Xilang. She even gave him the 2 boiled eggs she brought from her mother's family. That made Xiao Xilang very happy, thinking that his wife was so nice towards him and spared every bite of food for him. Ms. Yan told Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan about it and asked if they could visit her family the next day. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian believed that it was a good idea to start as soon as possible, and agreed readily. They arranged to meet with Ms. Yan at the entrance of the village the next day. After breakfast they rode the donkey cart and visited the Yan family together. Xiao Xian brought some homemade yuba and smoked dried tofu, bean cream skin and tofu puffs alongside. Apart from the yuba and the sun-dried bean cream skin, the smoked dried tofu and tofu poles were made the day before for their family to eat. Xiao Xian had no idea how to make those, but she learned the dishes from her space, which gave her a lot of instructions about how to make various bean products. Xiao Xian followed the steps and managed to make them all. She planned to buy some fresh meat from the town to go with the tofu puffs. She was going to mix the minced meat with a small amount of steamed glutinous rice, and add some chopped spring leeks to it. Then she was going to let Tao Tao and Xiaoqi go to the river to catch some small river prawns, bake them and add them as well. Once the ingredients were mixed well, a little salt would be added to the taste. Nothing else would be needed apart from these. After brewing, she could steam some of it on the steamer and deep fry the other part. After it was cooked, they could eat them directly or make soup, thicken it and cook it. It was going to be a delicious dish in all forms. The Yan family were all present, and they instantly liked Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan when they met, with Xiao Xian being the daughter of the county magistrate whilst Xiao Yunduan being the cultivated talent. Both sides greeted each other happily and they were very satisfied with one another. They could not help but develop the feeling that the other party was reliable. That made the communication between them go faster and smoother. Xiao Xian brought out the bean products she had prepared in front of the Yan family, who were all surprised. The Yan family had been devoted to the tofu business since the generation of Ms. Yan's grandfather, and it was a craftsmanship that had been passed down for generations. That was why the Yan family cherished this skill deeply, and passed down the skill from fathers to sons. As a result, they could tell the specialties of these bean products directly. What are these? How do they taste? Mr. Yan's heart throbbed and he became very excited. Craftsmen were always sensitive towards new products made by new skills. They could even tell if that skill was valuable. Xiao Xian made the introduction. These are yuba, tofu cream skin, puffs and smoked-dried tofu. You can tell that all of these are bean products. We can try making them and see how they taste? Okay. Mr. Yan smiled. Then stay for lunch and please tell my wife and daughter how to make the dishes so that they can do it for us. Xiao Xian had not intended to cook personally. She was going to let them do it so that they could be fully convinced. Okay, then we will be staying for lunch. Chapter 563. Tryout. There were all kinds of standard and innovative mixtures for bean products. All chefs could come up with all kinds of new dishes as long as they thought about them carefully. But what Xiao Xian told them were just ordinary ways of making those dishes. Roasted chicken nuggets with yuba, stir-fried dried bean curd with celery and vegetables, shredded fried bean curd in cold sauce, glutinous rice with diced bacon stuffed with tofu puffs, and one of these bean products for a huge mixture with chili. Those bean products would sell well when they were cooked with other side ingredients. Meat could be added too, but the price might be a bit too high for the common civilians to afford. So, vegetables as side dishes for the wok should leave some space for the original taste to show. Also, dishes with meat would have a better taste. Tofu could be good either with vegetables or with meat, thus being really popular. The 2 daughter-in-laws of the Yan family got busy. They killed chicken, soaked yubas and washed the smoked meat, getting ready to cook lunch. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian had a casual conversation and Ms. Yan showed them around the village. Soon it was time for lunch. When the dishes were done, they were served warm to the table. Mr. Yan asked the 2 guests to take the seat, followed by his own family. The dishes looked really good, and the smell was so appealing, that the Yan family had already understood what Xiaoxian meant. Mr. Yan tasted the cold dish first while he asked the others to start with the dishes. He was taken aback when he took the first bite. It was soft and chewy, and the more he chewed, the better it became. It had an attractive bean fragrance, which was completely different from tofu. The dried tofu, yuba and puffs all had different textures when cooked with vegetables or meat. They would be equally popular as tofu itself. Moreover, it could be preserved longer than tofu, especially the sun-dried yuba and cream skin. The three men of the Yan family exchanged an excited look between themselves. This was wonderful. It was such a pie from the sky. Everyone would want to have this business for themselves. With these bean products, the Yan family should be able to make a huge progress in their business. The Yan family would be able to get rich very soon. Please, let's eat first. Help yourself, we can talk about business after we are done with the food. Okay, Uncle Yan. Xiao Yunduan and Xiaoxian understood that the Yan family was quite willing to take the offer. After lunch, Mr. Yan and the two sons of the Yan family asked Xiao Yunduan and Xiaoxian to take their seats and started to discuss this business vividly. The couple would pass on the craftsmanship to the Yan family without concealing anything, but they wanted 30% of the profits after 30% of the capital. They promised not to get involved with other affairs, which would be under the Yan family alone. That was finally agreed between the two parties. They knew clearly how precious the craftsmanship was, and when the couple offered 30% of the profits whilst offering 30% of the capital, the couple did not take any advantage in the deal. The Yan family had years of experience in making tofu with good quality and reputation, so they had many old clients who were willing to buy stuff from them. They had accumulated a lot of money. So they decided to invest 100 liang, with the couple offering 30 whilst they put in 70. 70 liang was enough for the Yan family, and comprised almost all the savings they had. You're tuning in to the Phantom Sword Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.